This dude is the ultimate academic weapon. Everyone's obsessed with him. The guys are super salty, and he's basically winning at life, even scoring his soulmate. When does the romance plot actually kick off? Way back in the toddler days. Guess that's the ultimate cheat code for finding your person and locking down these core memories. Let's rewind a few years. Bro was literally 1 month old and already chugging straight from the mythical fountain of the gods. Thanks to that, his power stats are totally maxed out compared to any other kid. One random day, he grinded out 10,000 consecutive kicks, unlocking a god-tier ability. Now, his physical potential can basically scale up to the absolute human cap. His folks are losing their minds, hyping him up as a future mecha warrior or superhero. Obviously, your average infant would be totally clueless hearing that. Inside his head, though, he was straight up debating if his vibe was more Peter Parker or a literal god. At just 4 months old, Lin Zichen was pulling midnight stealth missions, speed crawling through the house. He kept it super low-key so his parents wouldn't totally freak. Every time he parkours in the dark, he literally farms experience points and boosts his strength. Hitting 6 months old, he finally dropped the walking reveal without giving his folks a heart attack. Chilling by the screen, he caught another broadcast about mechas and mutant super soldiers. Spoiler alert. Earth is basically a 24/7 spawning ground for terrifying monster raids, and those genetically modified squads are the heavy hitters stepping up to wreck the invaders. Society basically min-maxed their tech tree to forge insane androids. Plus, they hacked human DNA to breed the ultimate alphas, people with literally maxed out physical stats. Catching this lore drop, Lin Zichen realized his endless leveling cheat code was probably way more overpowered than any lab experiment. Mid-brainstorm, the fresh faces from next door swung by to say what is up. You got the wife, you got the husband. Carrying a super special little bundle, Lin instantly felt their plot lines were destined to cross. By 7 months old, bro was sweating it out harder than ever. Around the family, though, he had to keep up the basic baby act. The millisecond he got a solo room, he went straight back to the grind. He tried playing it cool, but moms basically have permanent radar for their kids. You literally cannot fake them out. His mom seriously thought she was hallucinating and had to aggressively rub her eyes. Lin instantly played dumb to make her think she was just seeing things. Fun fact, his mom actually writes stories for a living. Cut to bath time. Mom was scrubbing her precious boy and started yelling for the dad. Babe, come here. Our kid literally has shredded abs, and he is only 8 months old. The dad used 100% of his brain capacity, recalling how their kid vacuums down food like an absolute black hole. So he figured the boy was just a generational freak of nature. Even the mom totally blanked on the fact that she married a massive clown. After that, she started monitoring him like a hawk. She even strategically left the TV tuned to some documentary about a martial arts prodigy deadlifting 20 kilograms at just 2 years old. She is fully convinced her boy completely outclasses every single so-called gifted toddler on the planet. No cap, she was totally spot on. To this kid, limits literally did not exist. Hitting his terrible twos, he was casually tossing around 20 kilograms for fun. He still had to keep it under wraps, though, dodging way too many close calls with his folks. This time, however, his childhood bestie, Shen Qinghan, was the one who nearly exposed his insane hidden stats. She drops off her mom's top-tier snacks, pigs out, then crashes hard for a post-lunch nap. Lin would use her snooze time to get a massive pump in. The sad part is, sometimes the sink faucet would act up and leave him absolutely drenched. By age 3, his power spiked again. Tossing around 40 kilograms was basically child's play. Meanwhile, at age 4, the so-called ultimate genius over in the royal city was capping out at 30 kilograms. Despite completely flexing on that rival kid, Lin could not figure out why his own rank was hard stuck at tier 1. He started wondering if humans were even coded to reach tier 2. His first actual trip downtown happened when the two gorgeous moms took their toddlers out exploring. Our boy was absolutely shook, spotting actual beast people and cyborgs just walking around. Since his folks were strictly anti-screen time and completely banned all smart devices, he smooth-talked his mom into hitting up the local library, figuring it was the ultimate offline database for his questions. The second they walked in, he bolted past the kid zone toward the heavy literature, giving his mom a mini heart attack. Shumong hyped him up, saying baby Chen was totally built different for craving such high-level reads. Thumbing through the lore, our main guy realized the entire ecosystem was categorized into 6 insane biological tiers: basic, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and straight-up mystic. Plus, every single rank had 9 individual mini-stages to grind through. Regular, everyday people were stuck at level 1. which basically made them total fodder against the monster horde. Doing the math, Lin knew he had to seriously lock in and boost his training if he ever planned on throwing hands with those things. His internal system actually dropped rewards for that epiphany, proving that binge-reading lore was another valid leveling strategy. So, for the next few days, he split his time between getting swole and hitting the books. By age 4, Baby Chen kicked off his preschool arc and officially linked up with his new teacher, Miss Jiang Mei. Not long after, our boy finally broke through the level 2 ceiling. He was effortlessly deadlifting 80 kilograms and pulling off other crazy superhuman stunts. But on the flip side, tiny Han was totally struggling, basically getting bullied by the rest of the kindergarten squad. Han kept getting picked on. Being a real one, Lin refused to just watch from the sidelines. He stepped up to crush the drama. He totally freaked the bullies out, making Han idolize him more. Plus, his secret system hooked him up with sweet rewards, beyond scoring fresh quests. He basically became the undisputed boss of kindergarten. Fast forward 6 months later, he crushed his reading challenge, scoring the ultimate brain boost stat, the Celestial Root of Wisdom. This upgrade made him a total genius. Time zoomed past, and by age 7, the dynamic duo was already graduating preschool. Lin skipped chilling over the holidays and just kept grinding. He cranked up his workouts so much that he was sprinting 100 meters in under 8 seconds flat. Thanks to these epic perks, he speed ran the whole grade school syllabus in under a month, leveling up his stats. By the time grade school started, Lin was totally lapping everyone. He flexed on kids in every contest, though it felt like child's play. Honestly, his only real mission was racking up new titles in his system menu. Whenever he caught a free second, Lin tutored his bestie, since she couldn't catch on quite as fast. Still, Han put in the hard work. Her grades skyrocketed until she was literally ranking second overall in their entire class. Outside the books, our guy went hard in every sport possible just to totally max out his physical stats. Amidst this crazy routine, a transfer student named Bai dropped into their class. Lin instantly sensed she wasn't normal, feeling an insanely intense vibe. While Lin analyzed her hidden power, everyone else was just obsessing over Bai's gorgeous looks. Even Han was totally starstruck, pointing out that the new girl's hair literally shimmered like fresh snow. But Lin was too busy obsessing over why this girl's energy felt absolutely nothing like a regular person's. Was she some lab experiment or born to superhuman parents? Plus, since she walked in, Bai completely ghosted everyone. She just snoozed through lectures and literally never left her desk for bathroom breaks. The whole class was super nosy initially, but the hype quickly died down and things went back to normal. Then things got weird. A bizarre, nasty-smelling liquid started leaking from Bai, and the rest of the room instantly noticed. Some absolute jerk used it as an excuse to splash water all over her, mocking her for needing a shower. Naturally, Bai hated that, but instead of fighting back or snapping, she just completely broke down in tears. Lin was totally thrown off. He honestly thought she was a massive threat. Seeing her cry, his bestie begged him to help, regardless of the crazy mystery surrounding her. All he saw right then was a helpless kid getting picked on. Our guy marched right up to the bully, forcing him to dry off Bai's desk. The kid was sweating bullets and didn't argue. Let's be real. Lin's legendary tough guy reputation had already reached the older grades. Nobody in their right mind would mess with him. Right after, he made every single person who laughed at Bai drop an apology. The whole group awkwardly apologized. That's when Bai finally broke her silence, quietly thanking Lin for having her back. Han smiled, adding, "Hey, that's exactly what friends are for." From then on, the girls were totally inseparable besties. Later, Bai opened up, admitting her weird scent always made her feel like an outcast. She confessed how much the isolation hurt and how everyone avoided her, making her incredibly thankful to finally have real friends. Han totally understood, telling Bai she knew exactly how awful it felt to be treated like a complete outsider. She promised that if Bai was down, the three of them would be the ultimate squad. Bai practically tackled her in a hug, super emotional and thankful for their kindness. Plus, since they were always splitting lunch with her, she wanted to return the favor. She pulled out a wild necklace crafted from monster teeth, revealing it was a special birthday present from her mom, but she really wanted her new besties to keep it as a thank you. Han hyped her up, took the gift, and happily swore they were going to be lifelong best friends. But the good vibes crashed fast when Han found out Bai was suddenly getting shipped off to an entirely different school. Lin uncovered the whole truth by sneakily eavesdropping outside the principal's office. Turns out, Bai was actually a massive VIP, and the school was keeping her true background completely under wraps. Lin never crossed paths with Bai again after that. From then on, his life turned into an endless string of crazy twists. Fast forward. He was using this fresh massage skill he unlocked to help his mom chill out after a rough work shift. Right then, the TV news flashed a story about a 10-year-old absolute prodigy from Kyoto who successfully fused with dominant monster DNA. This kid could now deadlift 500 kilos, and Lin instantly recognized him as the exact same guy from his past. His dad kept whining about that so-called genius kid always hogging the TV. He swore the media just wanted to turn the guy into a walking billboard, while his parents bickered over it. Meanwhile, he felt totally left in the dust since he lacked those flashy genetic abilities the TV star had. Still, Lin Zichen knew he was destined for way bigger things and kept his head completely high. Then breaking news dropped out of nowhere about a massive monster invasion striking right across the border. Massive mutated rats were literally tearing entire cities apart, and investigators quickly realized crazy cultists actually triggered the absolute mess. Japan essentially begged the rest of the world to help them completely wipe out the beasts and cultists. Watching this unfold, Lin Zichen realized these complete sellouts totally betrayed humanity, teaming up with beasts for pure selfish power. Right as that thought crossed his mind, an insane crash completely freaked his family out. Peeking outside, he spotted flying cyborgs and wondered what they were hunting so late. Completely clueless about the chaos, he just brushed it off and headed straight to class the next morning. Catching up with his friend, Lin Zichen instantly spotted that her new necklace from Bay was literally glowing. It instantly hit him that the weird, creepy vibe wasn't coming from her at all, but totally from the jewelry. The pendant quickly stopped glowing, but between that and the midnight cyborgs, Lin Zichen just knew something major was about to drop. Walking toward campus, some completely random lady stopped out of nowhere just to hype them up. She walked right up asking if they were related, but Shen Qinghan quickly clarified they just grew up together. The lady joked about being super jealous, playfully claiming she totally wished she had a ride-or-die bestie too. Then she got super weird, asking why they walked alone. Linson quickly yanked her arm before she spoke, faking being late. Once they safely ditched her, he totally lectured his friend about casually chatting with creepy randoms, especially answering their weird questions. Heading home later, Shen Qinghan got super creeped out crossing a really sketchy alley. Lin Zichen tried playing it cool, telling her the entire block was getting totally bulldozed soon anyway, explaining the total ghost town vibe. Suddenly, that exact same lady popped up, telling her buddy Shang she finally caught them. Linda Chan was completely tripping out since he purposely took a totally different route. Yet this stalker still tracked them down. She immediately started spitting some insanely creepy lies to trick them into following her home. Her partner totally skipped the small talk and just lunged at them, but Lin Zichen absolutely refused to let that fly. He instantly clocked the massive dude so incredibly hard, he literally launched him backward through the air. The lady's jaw completely dropped, absolutely shook that some random teenager just sent a massive grown man flying with one hit. Catching her completely off guard, Lin Zichen dashed right in and totally decked her too. Knowing this blind spot lacked cameras, Lin Zichen figured he should totally silence these creeps to keep his crazy powers totally secret. Then the concrete started violently shaking out of nowhere. Before he could even react, a massive freak show rat suddenly busted out. The beast honestly did him a total solid by instantly crushing the kidnappers. Lin Zon grabbed his friend and absolutely sprinted for his life. She was literally freaking out, but he just kept yelling that they desperately had to find cover right now. Mid-sprint, a female cyborg zoomed right in from the sky. He was honestly pretty impressed the task force actually showed up that fast. The cyborg locked onto the beast and prepped rockets, literally blasting the giant rat while completely ignoring the kid standing right there. She totally wrecked the freakish monster in no time, giving the duo a perfect opening to finally bail and escape safely home. He figured her stats were honestly pretty trash, though, since it took 7 whole minutes and super weak rockets just to finish it. Either way, he knew mutated rats were an absolute nightmare since those massive, ridiculously beefy freaks could actually hit tier 5. Just incredibly relieved they actually survived, Lin Zichen swore he absolutely had to grind his training way harder for next time. Fast forward, he and Han Han totally kicked back celebrating birthdays with awesome presents. Thanks entirely to his insanely overpowered celestial wisdom boost, he totally mastered carving and crafted his bestie a sick wooden hairpin. Next thing you know, they zoomed straight out of middle school and hit the high school halls. All summer long, Lin Zichen basically lived in intense training mode, absolutely desperate to finally boost his stats. It barely took any time to easily hit tier 3, and his base stats literally shot straight through the roof. The literal night before classes restarted, he accidentally caught a viral clip talking about that famous Kyoto genius kid. The video claimed this 14-year-old totally merged with giant ant DNA, literally letting him casually bench press 2 tons with one single arm. That sparked an idea. If he was already this overpowered, fusing genes would make him absolutely unstoppable. His insane middle school grades scored him a spot at the top academy in town. But he only enrolled after making sure his bestie got accepted too. With his flawless academic rep, the teachers and principals basically rolled out the red carpet on day 1. He picked this place for its killer gym setups, planning to hit the badminton courts with his friend, who was super hyped to try it out. Out of nowhere, some senior crashed their match, acting tough, and claiming the spot was strictly for upperclassmen. Totally annoyed, he stepped up, reminding them about the school's first-come, first-served policy, while warning them to back off his friend. The older guy clapped back, saying he wouldn't care if royalty showed up, it was his turf. So he called the shots. Our guy just smiled, declaring himself the new boss in charge. To prove his point, he smacked the birdie with such insane force that it completely obliterated the senior's racket. The bully, along with the entire crowd, was absolutely shook. Backing down fast, the guys mumbled an apology and swore they would follow whatever he said from now on. Nobody messed with the duo after that legendary flex. Since he had already memorized the entire high school syllabus, he spent class time secretly diving into college-level stuff. Blessed with major brain energy, he went down massive internet rabbit holes, soaking up random trivia and deep diving into whatever obsessed him that day. Our main guy didn't just ace every single test, he completely dominated every athletic comp he signed up for. It didn't actually boost his secret system stats, but it definitely made his popularity with the ladies skyrocket. Still, he never let the hype distract him, always looking out for his childhood bestie whenever she needed backup. Fast forward a bit, and he joined a physical trial that was all about raw power, vertical leaps, and sprinting. Crushing those 3 areas essentially meant you were physically untouchable. Even while totally nerfing his own strength, he easily snagged the gold. Before long, the entire campus officially crowned him as the absolute undisputed king of the academy. Trekking home, his mind started wandering toward the whole life force concept. He figured since he was basically Apex, absorbing the life drops of other beasts would definitely level him up. Acting on that theory, he grabbed his bestie's pendant and used it to drain the energy straight out of a mysterious tooth he had. Boom. Turns out the tooth came from some freaky mutated bug. He tried Googling the monster right away, but the web gave him absolutely 0 hits. He quickly figured out that his hidden system was the only database holding those secrets. So, he ran another scan on the jewelry. This time, the interface pinged, confirming he had slurped up the life juice of a massive deep void moth. But then he realized his bar only filled up by a measly 2%, simply because he only held a tiny tooth instead of the whole corpse. Walking to class the next morning, he plotted to drain the terror energy out of the next beast he fought. His epic daydreaming got cut short when the combat instructor randomly cornered him. The coach could not stop hyping up his insane track record at the recent games, calling him a generational talent before straight up begging him to join the varsity squad. He hyped him up, claiming he was destined to be the top brawler, and pleaded with him to drop by the dojo after hours. The guy was so pushy that saying no was impossible. Later at home, he swatted a bug and noticed that normal pests seriously lacked any absorbable power. That practically confirmed his wild theory. Only mutated monsters carried the good stuff. Wanting to test this out in real life, he hit up the local grocery store, dragging his friend along. He grabbed some wrapped steaks first, but the plastic blocked his senses completely. Annoyed, he skipped the frozen aisle and made a beeline straight for the open butcher counter. He caught his bestie looking totally lost, mostly because he dragged her there with absolute 0 context. But he was way too hyper-focused on proving his crazy idea to care, sprinting straight to the display. This specific spot dealt in both normal groceries and monster parts, and our dude finally sensed that sweet energy radiating off the slabs. His friend just stared, asking why he was geeking out over literally petting raw meat. He just laughed, claiming he was inspecting the rare cuts, and dared her to poke the strange textures herself. Hard pass from her, so he opted to purchase a couple of samples for his secret home lab. He totally got why she was judging him. Plus, monster steaks cost a literal fortune, forcing him to hunt down the cheapest scraps available. Even the discount cuts were insanely pricey, prompting her to warn him about draining his mom's bank account. But our guy just brushed it off with a smirk, swearing his mom had already greenlit the shopping spree. His mom actually told him to grab extra monster meat for Han's crew too, since she was planning a massive dinner party. Plus, our guy was seriously paranoid that sucking out the energy would ruin the flavor or straight up rot the food. Doing the test at the market was a no-go. This stuff cost way too much to waste, and he had to be smart since who knew when he'd afford another batch. But while riding back, Lin Zichen totally lost his chill and just decided to siphon the meat's power right then and there on the street. Bam! His system pinged, confirming he just sucked up some phantom squid energy. The catch? That chunk only gave him 1% of the total power. He'd need to devour a mountain of this stuff to max out a single beast. A phantom squid's ultimate trick is melting into water. Super handy, sure, but buying enough meat to unlock it would totally bankrupt him. He desperately needed a side hustle, since tapping his parents wasn't an option. On the bright side, the steak still looked fresh, so an epic dinner was still on. Totally zoning out, he almost plowed his bike straight into a crowd. The dude was so obsessed with the meat, he straight up forgot he was pedaling. But slamming on the brakes caught his friend's attention. She spotted their teacher, Jiang Mei, trapped in a hostage situation with some armed creep. Cops had the psycho boxed in and were desperately trying to talk him down. The squad captain ordered everyone to hold their fire. Keeping the teacher alive was rule number 1. One officer pitched using a dart gun, but the captain vetoed it. Tranquilizers take too long, and the guy might snap and attack if poked. Suddenly, a rock came flying out of nowhere. It smashed right into the crazy guy's hand, forcing him to drop the blade and let go. The captain immediately yelled to breach. They tackled the criminal to the ground and secured the teacher. His buddy totally caught him pitching the rock, but Lin just whispered for them to bail and discuss the crazy stunt later. Problem was, the police chief also spotted his epic throw and called him out. Lin totally denied it and bolted. The captain was left scratching his head, wondering why anyone would dodge credit for saving a life. Normally, people would be screaming for a cash bounty right now. Overhearing that specific word, Lin stopped dead in his tracks. He spun right back around to the chief, completely admitting he was the clutch sniper, claiming he just hated the spotlight. The captain insisted on some paperwork before handing over the cash. Right before hopping in the cruiser, Lin texted his family that he was taking a quick detour to the precinct. Then, absolute chaos erupted. The arrested criminal turned out to be a cultist and literally morphed into a freakish beast. Mid-mutation, he started thrashing the cops. The chief instantly screamed for everyone to light up the massive rat mutant. Seeing his squad getting wrecked, the captain desperately radioed for heavy reinforcements. Meanwhile, Lin grabbed his friend and their teacher, shouting that they needed to ditch this war zone right now. Lin pointed out the monster wasn't chasing them, but they weren't taking chances. While sprinting away, he spotted a literal cyborg stepping up to the beast. The backup arrived insanely fast, dropping into the fight while flexing a massive laser cannon. One blast, and the mutant rat was absolutely vaporized. Watching that go down, Lin was completely blown away by the cyborg's crazy specs. Once the dust settled, he was just super thankful his bike survived the crossfire. But then, he checked his groceries. The meat was completely rotting. Guess, draining the energy really did trash the food after all. It just had a weird delay. To cover his tracks, he totally blamed the cultist mutant for ruining his expensive cuts. Sticking to the plan, they grabbed a ride to the station. Sadly, Lin ended up in the exact same squad car, transporting the mutant's fried corpse. Even with the awful stench, he figured that burnt carcass might still hold some juicy energy drops. Never one to miss a chance, Lin stealthily tried to siphon it. Without anyone noticing, he totally pulled it off. His interface flashed. 5% giant rat essence secured. He guessed a fresh kill meant way better loot drops than he originally thought. While the driving cop was completely clueless, fooling the squad captain was going to be way harder. Once the bounty cash was officially sorted, the chief grilled him on how a random teenager nailed such a crazy, sniper-level throw with a literal rock. Lin played it off, claiming he just practiced pitching at school and got incredibly lucky. Right during the interrogation, his frantic mom burst into the room. He tried calming her down, swearing he was perfectly fine and just getting a sweet payout for being a hero. Still, his mom totally grilled him, making him swear to bolt the second things got sketchy. Instead of playing hero, she made it super clear that she couldn't handle him risking his neck like that again. Swearing he'd keep his head down, Lin Zichen ditched the squad leader. But right as he was heading out, he caught some cops gossiping about that creepy rat cult prowling campuses for weak targets. They figured squashing the little minions was pointless and wanted to take down the big boss himself, the Rat King. This was brand new info to our guy, but a quick deep dive online revealed everything. Turns out, the cult's headquarters was right in his hometown. The whole operation was basically a massive underground crime ring that had totally blown up lately. Worse yet, the boss was hoarding massive piles of upgrade loot through his lackeys, just to get totally overpowered. Piecing it together, Lin realized this monster was actually smart. Just then, he noticed his bestie acting super quiet. He knew whenever she got stressed out, she'd completely freeze up like a scared little kid, so he just chilled with her until they made it back. Once home, his mom completely freaked out over the missing groceries. He tried explaining that during all that crazy chaos, his stash somehow got dropped and lost forever. Honestly, his mom didn't even care, she was just hyped he was alive, which took a massive weight off his shoulders. His dad, though, was totally ready to march back out there and hunt down their lost dinner. Lin had to stop him, pointing out the stuff was definitely rotten by now. Meanwhile, at the precinct, the chief was still obsessing over that crazy rock throw. Out of nowhere, a literal giant rat just waltzed right into the building, catching him completely off guard. He pulled his weapon, but this freakish thing was way too quick and smart to just get blasted. Cut back to campus, where our boy is stressing over being weak compared to all these mutants and cyborgs. He desperately needs cash to buy high-tier meat for a power boost. Starting a whole influencer career crossed his mind, but he needed serious bank like yesterday, while staying totally under the radar. Then it clicked for him. In this crazy reality, throwing punches pays way better than passing tests. Combat tourneys hand out massive payouts compared to nerding out. So it was time to step up. The second the bell rang, Lin bolted to the training center to catch up with Coach Guo. The coach instantly hyped him up, asking if he was finally ready to join the squad. But before committing, our guy straight up asked if fighting actually brings in real money. The coach didn't even hesitate, confirming that champions literally rake in huge piles of cash. That was all Lin needed to hear to officially sign his life away to the fight club. Hyped about the new recruit, Guo called everyone over for intros, and the crew totally welcomed him with open arms. Right after, the coach ran through some fundamental strikes to show the rookie the ropes. He made sure to warn everyone that these moves look easy but take forever to actually master. Stepping up to the mat, Lin just activated his cheat ability, instantly downloading the routine and nailing it flawlessly on the first go. Catching that insane display, the coach was totally stunned, his brain glitching over how anyone could pick up combos that fast. He rushed over, demanding to know his secret, and basically crowning him a combat genius on the spot. Later, back at his place, Mom shouted that dinner was done. Lin wandered into the kitchen to see what was cooking, and she revealed that his favorite squid dish was on the menu. He hyped up the amazing smell, and she basically shoved him toward the table before it got cold. One bite in, and he was already declaring her the ultimate master chef. She was super stoked, he loved it, bragging about snagging over a kilo of fresh seafood. Mid-chew, his interface suddenly flashed, confirming he was draining pure stat boosts right out of his dinner. Turns out, simply snacking on this stuff was enough to trigger his power-up. Then the TV blasted a breaking update. Some 14-year-old kid had literally fused her body with an energy core, making her the youngest mech human ever. With it powered up, she could bench 2 tons, dash 100 meters in just 3 seconds, and literally levitate. Our guy quickly realized that matched up against this Kyoto hotshot, he was completely outclassed, probably thanks to her insane cybernetic upgrades. The news then dropped a bombshell. That precinct chief he just met got wrecked by a freakish rodent in his own office and didn't make it. Lin froze, wondering if his old fuzzy enemy was the culprit. Absolutely fuming over the tragedy, he kicked his grind into overdrive, swearing to wipe out every single vermin that dared step to him. His raw power shoots up so crazily that he's deadlifting 2,000 pounds without even needing buffs. Lin's been grinding his combat skills hard, feeling completely hyped to jump into whatever brawl comes his way. Shortly after, he's heading to the campus arena with his buddy, who keeps nagging him for details on his insane workout routine. Mid-walk, this random girl rolls up asking if he grabbed breakfast, trying to hand him a carton of milk in case he's starving. Lin politely turns it down, though he totally appreciates the sweet gesture. Watching this go down, some salty dude starts fuming, mad that Lin didn't just swipe his festival trophy, but is now pulling his crush too. Boiling over, the hater blocks Lin's path, calling him completely out of line for rejecting the girl's drink. Our main guy mentions his dairy allergy, but the jealous punk isn't having any of it. He claims Lin should have just taken it to be nice and passed it on. Then he drops a battle challenge, swearing to back off forever if he gets beat. But if our boy takes the L, he's got to chug every last drop of that dairy. Right then, a system prompt pops up offering sweet loot for a victory, so he instantly locks in and accepts the match. Gossip about the upcoming brawl blows up fast, packing the campus arena with hyped students in no time. Unsurprisingly, the whole audience, especially his massive fangirl squad, was totally rooting for Lin. That blatant favoritism just made the hater rage harder, deciding it was prime time to publicly humble Lin since he hated being second best. Lin just casually drops that he's rushing to make it back to his place before dinner time. Firing back, his cocky rival smirks and says he plans on making this beatdown extremely quick anyway. Stepping in as the ref, Coach Guo tells both teens to keep it clean and watch their power levels. Acting tough, the salty dude offers Lin 3 free shots, flexing his 2 years of training compared to Lin's barely 1-month grind. Totally cool with that flex, Lin launches forward and literally one-shots the dude. The coach's jaw drops, and the whole crowd just stands there absolutely stunned. Meanwhile, Shen totally loses her mind, cheering for her bestie, setting off a massive wave of hype from the rest of the girls. His interface dings with maxed out popularity points from the female crowd, but drops a harsh reality check. Leveling up his combat stats takes 1,000 total takedowns, clocking that miserable 1 out of 1,000 score. Lin asks the coach if anyone else wants to run the ones right now. Catching that vibe, a bunch of the guys instantly panic and ghost the arena before they end up on his hit list. Despite that absolute wipeout, the salty rival refuses to hold the L, whining about a sneak attack and begging for round 2. Coach Guo isn't having it though, telling the kid to take his bruising like a boss, right before calling the next poor soul up to face Lin. The drafted guy is absolutely terrified internally, though he awkwardly tries puffing out his chest to look tough. Barely 10 minutes pass, and our guy has literally swept through every single challenger the coach threw into the ring. The kicker? None of those wins tracked for his quest, leaving him stuck with 999 enemies to go. Regardless, the coach hypes up Lin's insane growth, declaring him the top brawler after barely 30 days of training. The mentor swears that having this beast on their squad practically guarantees them the gold at the upcoming regional clash. Right then, it clicks for Lin that this massive event is his golden ticket to farming those required takedowns. He bets that wrecking kids in an officially sanctioned bracket has to trigger his system's tracking properly. In this universe, teens pick either the nerd route or the combat path, but the fighters are always the ones soaking up the glory. Catching the vibe, Shen starts grinding alongside her bestie, soaking up every combat trick Lin can possibly throw her way. He torches her stamina with endless sprints and push-ups, then plays physical therapist to rub out those crazy muscle knots afterward. Meanwhile, he keeps sweating through his own intense routines, desperate to dominate the bracket and fully unlock his survival stats. Fast forward 30 days, and the insanely hyped competition morning officially drops. The energy inside the massive metro stadium is absolutely electric. Tucking away in the competitors' locker room, Coach Guo complains about their trash luck, realizing they've drawn the most busted squad for their opening clash. That elite academy brought an absolute freak who hits like a truck and sprints 100 meters in 9 seconds flat. Obviously, everyone else is terrified to step up, but naturally, Lin steps up to the plate, claiming the lead spot for his squad without hesitating. The coach gives the green light, betting it all on him. Stepping onto the mat, Lin's rival smirks, bragging that he checked his stats and respects the hype. Still, the guy talks trash, saying a 5'7" newbie doesn't belong here, promising to violently expose the massive gap in their power levels. The ref waves his hand to kick things off. This other dude charges and super hyped, but when he throws a punch, he is totally shocked that Lindsay easily slips right past it. Even crazier, Lindsay immediately fires back and literally one-shots the giant dude, bagging his first win. His buddy is losing it in the stands, while his classmates and teacher are absolutely hyped. Meanwhile, the loser gets totally chewed out by his coach for slipping up. Just as planned, Lin Zichen figures out that wrecking tournament fighters actually boosts his quest progress, while the rival coach sends in his next guy. The second the ref drops his hand, the new guy swings hard, but Lindsay just sidesteps and hits him right back. Boom! Another instant knockout on the very first hit. The whole arena is completely mind-blown by this rookie's insane power. The rival coach is totally panicking now, warning his next fighter not to embarrass them again. Now this challenger is famous for his brain, not his brawn, so the audience is seriously pumped to see how this plays out. The moment they get the green light, the smart guy just unleashes a wild flurry of punches. His coach is absolutely furious, because the game plan was strict defense, not some reckless charge. But this dude figures he can just spam his ultimate move instead of blocking. His jaw drops though when he realizes he is completely hitting thin air. He pauses his combo, totally baffled, demanding to know how Lindsay dodged literally everything. Lin Zichen roasts him for spamming the exact same attack, making the guy furious. Honestly bored of the repetitive moves, Lindsay just wraps the matchup instantly. The crowd absolutely loses their minds over this flawless win. Lineage's upcoming challengers were total scrubs compared to the rest, making it a complete breeze. 2 whole days pass, and nobody can even lay a finger on him. Before long, Lin Zichen literally carries his entire school to the championship trophy. The catch? He still has to beat 984 more guys to finish his quest, which is definitely gonna take a hot minute. At least he secured the biggest payout, securing 20,000 in pure cash. Added to his older stash, he is sitting on a cool 30,000 yen. He blew through that cash insanely fast though. Lindsay dumped it all on squid meat, devouring 15 kilos to soak up 33% of the beast's power. A bit later, he successfully leveled up to tier 4. Plus, his raw power and agility got a massive boost. He and his bestie finally graduated high school, but the vibe got instantly ruined by some tragic updates. Shen Qinghan crushed her normal classes, but her combat scores completely tanked, meaning they wouldn't be heading to the exact same college. Lindsay tried hyping her up, promising to sweet-talk the college dean during her upcoming visit, but she felt the dean only cared about him and hated feeling like a third wheel. Lin Zichen straight up refused to enroll anywhere unless his best friend was coming too. When the dean finally showed up at his place, she practically begged him to join her campus. After chatting forever, she finally stopped rambling and asked if he had any special demands. Our boy admitted the offer sounded super solid, but insisted his best friend had to tag along and study right beside him, just like the old days. Honestly left with no choice, the dean greenlit both their admissions for the upcoming semester, leaving the duo absolutely thrilled. Right before college started, Lin Zichen crashed one final high school tournament and absolutely wiped the floor with everyone. With the fresh prize money in hand, he set out to treat himself. Stuck at 80% assimilation with that phantom squid, he bought enough extra meat to finally hit a solid 100. He chowed down on the rest, and his status screen popped up, confirming the ghost squid fusion was completely maxed out. Boom. He unlocked all the monster's perks, letting him swim like a pro without even needing a breath of air. Testing out the buff, he found out he was totally amphibious, and surprisingly, his skin didn't even prune up underwater. But honestly, besides the swimming trick, there were literally 0 extra powers, which felt super underwhelming. Still, he chose to keep grinding monster stats until he snagged an actually overpowered skill, since everyone starts at level 1. Right before classes kicked off, he dragged his friend and family on a trip to fully test out his new water tricks. He managed to drag the whole squad to the beach, but while Shen Qinghan was whining about the freezing waves, our guy took a literal dive straight in, eager to flex his brand new swimming hacks. His bestie then admitted she was clueless in the water and begged him for some quick swimming lessons. Lin honestly didn't know his bestie literally couldn't swim. He did his absolute best coaching her, totally unprepared for how ridiculously fast she caught on. Shen Qing was totally hyped, just managing to keep her eyes open underwater. She joked that everyone hyped up how badly the water burns your eyes, but honestly, people were just being dramatic. That definitely tripped our guy out. He immediately started wondering why on earth Shen Qing was such a natural aquatic prodigy. Racking his brain, he suddenly recalled she was always super clumsy on dry land. He figured her terrible land balance totally explained her crazy swimming skills. Maybe she was literally a water goddess in her past life or something. Whatever the reason, he just kept swimming with her. Except, she kept blowing his mind with her insane progress. She held her breath for absolute ages, doing effortlessly what took him a whole squid power grind to unlock. Out of nowhere, Shen Qing heard someone talking beneath the waves. Freaked out, she immediately darted up for air. Seeing her panicking, Lin totally asked what was wrong. She admitted some creepy deep-sea voice totally spooked her. The words were basically in some alien language, but she swore it definitely sounded like a girl talking. Once they crashed back at their hotel, our guy went down a massive internet rabbit hole digging for clues. He found absolutely 0 answers. Too wired to sleep anyway, he decided to just grind his training until he passed out. He figured if he kept this hardcore grind going, he'd be punching out literal boss monsters barehanded in no time. Finally, hitting level 5, he took off for a jog just to flex his newly upgraded stats. His sprinting speed was absolutely insane, and his vertical leap went totally off the charts. Plus, his muscle power spiked so hard he could bench crazy weights. Heading home, his regular school life officially kicked back in. The duo showed up super early for chores, and Lin realized his fresh classmates already recognized him. Surprisingly enough, his system chimed in, revealing that boring group chores actually dropped sweet loot too. Catch was, he had to grind out 1,000 tasks first. Lin couldn't stop wondering what epic drops awaited him. Anyway, he hit up the grocery store for a haul. Having fully absorbed that squid power, he was totally ready to sample new monster proteins. Browsing the aisles, he spotted tyrant eagle cuts and instantly decided that was his next vibe. This bird is an absolute menace, ranked just above the ghost squid. Its eyesight is 30 times better than ours. Because of those insane eyes, its tracking game is literally flawless. It never lets a meal escape. Basically, snatching those eagle skills would be super overpowered. Plus, it was literally the second most affordable meat there. Chomping down a single bite instantly granted him 1% of the bird's raw essence. Doing the math, he'd need a whopping 200,000 credits to max out that skill tree, meaning he totally had to sweat harder in tournaments. Bigger risks equaled way better payouts, right? Flash forward to campus life. Lin met the faculty. Everyone in his homeroom had to do those awkward icebreaker intros. Most girls were super confident, but Shen Qinghan totally panicked. She practically whispered her name and rushed through it. But honestly, our main guy dropped the shortest, most blunt intro out of literally everyone. After the bell rang, some girl asked Shen Qinghan about her entrance score. She admitted getting 709 and immediately asked her back. The classmate, Chugging, flexed that she scored exactly 10 points lower, which was still super solid. But she complained about bombing the gym test with just 95 points. Asking how Shen Qinghan did, Shen Qinghan was internally screaming because the gym test maxed out at 100 points. Chugging basically aced it. Meanwhile, she only bagged 79 points and felt way too mortified to actually confess that. The girl kept pestering her for numbers, but Shen Qinghan just awkwardly mumbled that hers was lower. Chugging bragged that snagging a 90 or 92 was decent. Catching his bestie stressing out, Lin finally stepped in. He slid over and boldly asked for Chugging's digits, totally shocking her. A cute guy making the first move? She literally couldn't say no. Shen Qinghan was secretly rejoicing over the rescue, since her social battery was already completely drained. Lin totally played it smooth, snagging another dude's contact info while he was at it. He instantly spun up a group chat for the squad, realizing this sneaky networking perfectly boosted his quest progress. That new guy was Yu. Bro literally came from a fighting dynasty and even ran his own martial arts studio. Plus, he traveled in from the next town over and already had some serious tournament experience under his belt. As for Li Chugging, her family ran this super hyped fashion brand, meaning she was basically loaded. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan opened up about their backgrounds, and honestly, the four of them clicked into a squad super fast. While chatting, Yu totally switched the vibe and asked who everyone thought was the absolute powerhouse of their class. Li Chugging bet all his money on Lin Zichen, flexing the fact that the dude literally crushed the city's entrance exams. That was totally news to him. But he pointed out Lin Zichen had some serious competition, since the school dropped insane cash to snatch up 2 heavy hitters from Nan City. One of those flashy recruits went by the name Wang Shuer. This guy ranked 3rd highest back in his hometown and could literally sprint a 100-meter dash in less than 8 seconds. The second guy was an absolute unit named Lu Gang, who could one-hand 300 kilograms easy. The girls were mind-blown, but our main guy was low-key unbothered. The bell finally rang, and everyone got hit with a stack of 4 massive textbooks for all the main subjects. Since he already had all that material memorized anyway, Lindsay completely ignored the stack. Instead, he hunted down a super secret spot to grind out his training whenever he had free time. Those freaky cultists and mutant rats were still stressing him out, so he knew he had to hit tier 6 as soon as possible just to survive those monsters. A bit later, a teacher dragged the class outside for a hands-on activity, asking if anyone actually knew how to start a fire from scratch with just some sticks. He laughed, saying literally nobody uses primitive survival skills anymore, wondering if anyone even bothered learning them. He instantly ate his words when he glanced over and caught some classmates effortlessly sparking up flames with tiny twigs. The teacher was completely shook and demanded to know where they picked up such a wild trick. Lu Gang bragged about taking extra survival courses over the break, while Wang Shuji flexed that he learned it from a random online video back in grade school. After the Nanyuan City duo finished flexing their skills, the rest of the class scrambled to spark their own flames. Our main guy stepped right up, totally carrying the squad by showing everyone how it was done. Next period, the combat instructor basically handed the spotlight right back to those same 2 show-offs. But our hero? He definitely preferred staying totally under the radar. A whole month flew by, and one of the instructors announced a pop exam to see how much everyone leveled up. He hyped it up by dropping the fact that the top 3 would score straight cash, with first place bagging the ultimate payout. Once he found out, the grand prize was $888. Our guy instantly imagined all the epic stakes he could feast on. With a literal feast on the line, he officially stopped playing nice. The exam itself was split into 2 main sections, gear tweaking and genetic mixing. Fast forward an hour, and half the class was already whining about how insanely brutal the questions were. Meanwhile, those transfer kids were busy patting themselves on the back, fully convinced they totally secured the top spots. Hugh was getting so sick of their endless bragging that he seriously wanted to throw hands, but decided to keep his cool instead. The gear mechanics instructor finally walked in with the grades. Shen Qinghan totally hyped herself up after barely passing with a 61. Then there was Hugh, who totally turned heads when his 88 flashed on the board. He played it cool, claiming it was pure luck, but secretly he was riding high on that killer grade. Then, the professor revealed Lu Gong and Wang Shu tied at 95, missing just a single answer. Naturally, the two of them instantly started soaking up the clout, acting like they would have easily locked in a flawless score with just 10 extra minutes. Hugh was seriously over their whole vibe, but the teacher cut them off, dropping the absolute bombshell that someone actually snagged a perfect score, despite the insane difficulty. When the duo realized Lin Zichen totally crushed their grades, their jaws literally hit the floor, while the tryhards sulked. The whole squad cheered for Lin Zichen, hyping him up for completely outclassing the supposed geniuses. Meanwhile, our hero was completely spacing out, only caring about when he'd actually get his hands on that sweet cash. The instructor handed over the prize envelope, definitely side-eyeing how utterly obsessed this kid was with the payout. Moments later, the genetics professor rolled up with his grades. The transfer duo broke 80 but were still super salty about missing a perfect streak. Shen Qinghan managed a solid 78, easily securing a spot in the top 5. And in a massive plot twist, our guy flawlessly aced this exam too. Totally throwing a tantrum, Lu Gang and Wang Shujie cried foul, shouting that back-to-back perfects were literally impossible. But honestly, the genetics prof shut them down fast, pointing out he wrote the exam from scratch, so nobody could have possibly leaked the answers. After that whole mess, the self-proclaimed geniuses just looked like absolute haters. Post-break, it was time for a fresh challenge, pure wilderness survival. The instructor hyped the crowd, stating the payout matched the last ones, but this challenge was a crazy 3-stage gauntlet, scaling walls, swimming, and sparking fires. Wang Shuji whispered to his bro that they absolutely had to win this to save face. Lu Gang totally vibed with that, hyped up and ready to do whatever it took to keep from looking like a total joke again. Things kicked off with a rock climbing trial, where being the fastest meant grabbing the top score. No surprise here, our main guy totally crushed it for first place. But he was stressing over his buddy, who came in dead last, and desperately needed the water section to bounce back. When it came to the fire starting phase, Lin sparked his flame in record time. He tried keeping a low profile earlier, but things were officially competitive now. He totally dominated the water course, while his bestie finally flexed their skills and totally dunked on the top-tier students. Right after the whole wilderness survival phase wrapped up, those two transfer kids from the next town over went totally mute. That awkward silence vanished fast, though, because the combat exams were up next and they were thirsty for the spotlight. Those two got ridiculously hyped the second their instructor dropped the bomb that they would be throwing down in one-on-one fights. But before throwing punches, they had to run through a quick vibe check on 3 core stats: a 100-meter sprint, a one-handed heavy lift, and a maximum vertical leap. Naturally, our hero absolutely smoked the entire class during this prep phase, yet he still totally nerfed himself to keep his crazy stats hidden, though he easily clowned on his rivals anyway. Even so, those two overly confident tryhards genuinely thought they could take him in a real scrap. Once prep was done, the whole squad hit the combat arena. Thanks to his crazy high scores, Lin Zichen got called up first, but literally nobody had the guts to step up, not even Lu Gang or Wang Shuji. Since the whole class was dodging him, the instructor just picked a victim for him. Lin debated taking it easy on the guy, but honestly, he just wanted to get it over with, dropping him cold with just one hit. Since his mission was to wipe the floor with the entire roster, he just speedrun the whole thing. With every absolute stomp, those two supposed geniuses started sweating bullets, totally terrified of fighting him. Over in the second arena, Hugh stepped up, flexing that he was in peak shape, and immediately called out the stuck-up kids. Desperate to duck out of a beatdown from our main guy, Lu Gang jumped at the offer, super confident he could just bully a lower-tier kid. Hugh went absolutely wild on offense, but the massive dude just tanked every single hit like it was nothing. Lu Gang just casually caught the dude's kick and literally tossed him completely out of bounds. Flexing his totally unearned win, he bragged that Hugh had solid form, but claimed his own skills were just way too elite to lose. Not even a second later, the protagonist hopped over the ropes and pointed straight at Lu Gang. Knowing he was completely cornered, the heavyweight charged in blindly, throwing everything he had into a massive strike. But our guy just sidestepped it flawlessly, making the big dude totally wipe out on the floor. To wrap things up, Lin dropped one ridiculous punch that launched him flying out of the arena. Watching that absolute wipeout, the crowd immediately started roasting Wang Shuji, daring him to step up and fight Lin next. Knowing his reputation was on the line, Wang took the bait, totally convinced his big brain could outsmart raw power. He rushed in throwing absolute haymakers, but our hero caught his fist like it was literally moving in slow motion. One brutal right hook later, Wang was sent into orbit and hit the deck completely knocked out. After that flawless victory, Lin just wiped out the rest of the class without breaking a sweat. He quickly figured out that his system's quest rules straight up banned farming the same person multiple times, which was a bummer because only the girls were left standing. Wildly enough, every single one of them was begging to fight him, with one girl eagerly jumping in line first. But the second the bell rang, she completely ignored combat and just sprinted in for a massive hug. Lin had to seriously pull his punch, giving her a gentle tap that dropped her to the mat and instantly shattered her fangirl dreams. The rest of the squad tried pulling the exact same cute stunt, but Lin just speedrun shutting them down. Once the dust settled, the instructor dropped a massive bombshell. In 30 days, they were going up against a super overpowered second-year class. Lin was initially stressing out, totally bummed that he was out of people to farm. So this update was basically a massive win. Right after, Liu Gang cornered him, aggressively declaring that he refused to stay a loser and officially named him his mortal enemy. Wang totally copied his vibe, swearing he would grind non-stop until he finally left Lin in the dust. Honestly though, our guy completely tuned them out, daydreaming about all the cash he just bagged and the insane amount of premium meat he was going to buy to level up. But when he finally crashed at home, reality hit hard. Even after sweeping the exams, his wallet was still way too light to afford his crazy diet. Desperate to stack some extra paper, he decided to borrow his parents' career path, setting up a totally secret account to pump out web novels. Literally 24 hours later, a platform editor slid into his direct messages, hyping up his draft and offering him a legit contract to drop a full series. But the thing that actually made his jaw drop was a viral news clip about some mutant rat going absolutely feral on a warehouse just outside city limits. The broadcast claimed this absolute unit of a beast was 5 meters tall and literally chomped a fully armed cyborg in half like a snack, going out like a boss. That ruined cyborg smashed his armor's self-destruct button to drag the rat to hell with him, pulling off an instant double knockout. Staring at the screen, our hero could not stop wondering where these massive nightmare rodents were spawning from and how many were actually lurking out there. Fast forward a bit, and game day finally arrived for the freshmen to lock horns with the veteran upperclassmen. Their instructor pointed out that while the rival class lacked solo talent, their overall teamwork was totally stacked, making that group synergy their golden ticket to victory. Lin immediately volunteered to open the matches, eager to push his own secret agenda forward. He stepped up against a girl whining about being her squad's weakest link, complaining it was super unfair to fight the enemy's top dog right out the gate. The opposing instructor fired back, claiming sending out the bottom-tier fighters first was standard protocol, totally calling out Lin's coach for breaking the meta. Catching onto the drama, the coach told our main guy to hold his horses and wait it out. Lin stormed out of the arena, clearly salty about the delay. Next up, the instructor tagged in one of the girls, though she was practically shaking in her boots. That's when Shen jumped into the mix, declaring herself the absolute worst in their ranks and demanding the opening spot to honor the rules. Stepping onto the mat, she looked entirely clueless. Her squad cheered like crazy, but all that hype just made her anxiety skyrocket. The enemy didn't hold back, blitzing her instantly and totally shutting down any chance for a counter. Realizing victory was a massive long shot, Shen decided to just play the ultimate stalling game. 3 long minutes later, her rival figured out she was fighting a literal brick wall of stamina. Wanting to wrap things up, the older student threw a heavy haymaker and finally knocked Shen out of the running. She felt super cringe about the loss, but her coach actually hyped her up, praising that big brain move to drain the enemy's energy. Lin gave his buddy some major props too, swearing that with a bit more grinding, her tank-like endurance would be totally unstoppable. The next challenger up figured the rival was already running on fumes, practically handing over an easy win. Instead, she got sloppy during a high kick, dropped her guard, and ate a massive punch right to the face. The winner smirked, telling her it's a huge rookie mistake to sleep on a senior fighter's skills. She flexed that while talent wasn't her thing, an extra year of hardcore grinding made all the difference. Next on deck was Li, swearing absolute payback for her bestie's defeat. Breaking the losing streak, Li absolutely wrecked the veteran opponent. Seeing that epic takedown, Shen lost her mind, cheering for her girl. Our main guy chimed in, reminding everyone that Shen was the real MVP without her draining the enemy's stamina first. Lee never would have snatched that dub. Fast forward 2 hours. The rival coach was practically drooling, noting the other squad was down to just 4 fighters, and his free lunch bet was looking guaranteed. But the protagonist's instructor just smirked, clapping back that their ultimate heavy hitters were still waiting in the wings. He tossed Haeyu into the spotlight to finally flex his skills. The dude cracked his knuckles, totally hyped to wreck some faces, without holding anything back. The guy across the ring just rolled his eyes, roasting him for acting like an overly edgy kid throwing a tantrum. Haeyu totally ignored the shade and instantly planted a brutal kick right on the dude's jaw, yeeting him entirely out of bounds. Then he just stood there, sarcastically asking who the real clown was now. The next challenger stepped up almost immediately, trash-talking Haeyu for having such a massive ego. The second the match started, the enemy rushed in, but Haeyu flawlessly sidestepped and delivered a savage counter that floored him instantly. Riding that adrenaline high, he swept through a whole line of challengers, though you could tell his stamina bar was blinking red. He finally crashed out on his 6th fight, leaving his crew with a measly 3 survivors against a whopping 13 enemies. But those final 3 were absolute beasts. Wang stepped onto the mat next, going on a legendary 10-man kill streak before finally passing out from pure exhaustion. Liu tagged in right after, effortlessly wiping the floor with 2 more rivals. Looking smug, the coach pointed out the enemy only had 1 guy left standing and asked if they wanted to just throw in the towel. The rival instructor just laughed and summoned his absolute ace. Wang stepped up, looking like an absolute unit, literally double Liu's size. Liu didn't even flinch, completely convinced he could still clutch the win. But the second his fist connected, he panicked. The dude's massive layers of body fat literally soaked up the entire hit like a sponge. Liu figured spamming heavier attacks would break his defense, but it was totally useless. He was just burning his own energy while dealing 0 damage. Sensing the perfect opening, the giant went full offensive. He snatched Liu by the throat like a ragdoll and chucked him right out of the ring, leaving the younger squad's coach stunned by this random powerhouse. The enemy instructor bragged that their heavy hitter was a brand new transfer student. He was a total nobody to them right now, but he was about to make a massive name for himself. Suddenly, our coach realized why the other guy was so insanely cocky, and it dawned on him that his wallet was about to bleed paying for that lunch bet. He tagged Lin in for the final showdown, but tried keeping it chill by telling the kid not to stress too much about securing the victory. Our main guy didn't even sweat it though, coldly promising that he was going to absolutely dominate the fight. The second he stepped in, the other dude straight up called him a scrawny twig, whining about not wanting to break him. Lin's squad wasn't having it, and immediately started roasting the absolute giant. Hearing that, the big guy decided to fight, but flexed by offering a free 10-hit head start. You know, just to avoid looking like a bully. Lin didn't hesitate, and just casually absolutely clocked the giant right in the jaw. The massive dude went flying backward like he was nothing but a literal helium balloon. The whole crowd was stunned watching the rival class's so-called top fighter just get totally floored. His crew went absolutely wild, while the giant woke up totally clueless about what year it was. Post-match, the rival teacher admitted Lin was cracked, saying he gave major freshman Wu Yan vibes. Lin was like, "Who even is Wu Yan Cheng?" His teacher explained the guy was a legendary senior from a few years back. As a total newbie, Wu Yan wrecked a senior and became an instant legend on campus. Just like our guy, he was an absolute prodigy with crazy good stats. Lin played it cool and acted impressed, but Loki knew he could totally wipe the floor with that Wu guy. A bit later, their teacher hyped up the win and announced the losing teacher was buying everyone lunch. Free food. Everyone hyped Lin up for dropping their biggest rival. He basically became an overnight celeb, with kids begging for his workout routine. Terrified that Lin would get too popular for her, Shen Qinghan went into maximum overdrive trying to be super helpful. Plus, her legendary non-stop bathroom breaks were still very much a thing. During one bathroom trip, she caught some mean girls trash-talking her, calling her a total pick-me for hogging Lin. She brushed off the haters though, proudly claiming her spot as his day one bestie, not some random fan. Walking home, Lin noticed she was super gloomy and asked what was wrong. She opened up, explaining that as a kid, her mom promised her weird condition would magically vanish as she got older, so she shouldn't stress about it. But fast forward to now, she still needed bedtime diapers to avoid accidents, and it was seriously wrecking her confidence. She was totally convinced she had some sort of permanent disability, since teenagers definitely shouldn't be dealing with that. Lin immediately shut that down, calling it an unawakened superpower instead of a flaw. That totally blew her mind. She had literally never looked at it that way before. He hyped her up, saying her insane swimming skills were straight-up proof of her secret water abilities. Feeling better, she pointed out he'd been a beast since childhood and asked if he was hiding superpowers too. Lin just smirked and admitted he definitely had some crazy tricks up his sleeve. She was super hyped to see it in action, totally convinced whatever power he had would be absolutely top tier. Right then, absolute chaos erupted nearby. Some dude was aggressively fighting off pest control workers with a literal broom. He was screaming that the rats were his brothers and threatened to throw hands if anyone touched them. Completely creeped out, she whispered that the guy had totally lost his marbles. Lin agreed the guy was unhinged and dragged her home. Later, the evening news broke a spooky story about another local teacher vanishing after her shift. His mom pointed out that this was the fourth girl to go missing in just 4 weeks. His dad quickly corrected her, pointing out it was actually victim number 5. The anchor warned all the girls to stop walking alone at night since nobody had a clue what was snatching them. Terrified, his mom ordered him to be Shen's personal bodyguard. Fast forward to the next morning at the precinct. Broom guy was locked up and getting tested. The medic was totally stumped, mostly because the suspect was giving them the silent treatment. But then, a cop called cab, reminding everyone the dude was literally screeching when arrested. Out of nowhere, the guy started morphing into a giant freakish rat. Panic mode activated. The cop screamed for backup, knowing only the cyborg squad could tank a monster like this. The squad desperately tried to pin the beast down and hold the line. Things got worse when a rookie yelled that the cyborgs were off-site and they were basically out of ammo. Out of options, the captain ordered a tactical retreat to kite the rat out of town. They jumped into a cruiser and started baiting the beast. But the monster was insanely fast and actually managed to ram right into their cop car. Because of that massive crash, their whole genius plan to lure it outside the city limits completely flopped. Thank goodness a badass cyborg girl showed up right then and started blasting. But that creepy mutant rat just burrowed underground and dipped. She figured since the beast was severely banged up, it couldn't be hiding too far away. They still had a solid shot at tracking it down. Cut to later that night. Our guy is wide awake, staring at his web novel stats. His stories were totally blowing up and bringing in serious cash. Pumped up, he hit the streets for a late-night jog to see just how ridiculously overpowered his new stats actually were. He was definitely leveling up fast and getting closer to maxing out his skills. But suddenly, he spots this massive rodent lurking in the shadows. This freakish thing was munching on garbage and literally muttering words. Lin Zichen freaked out, realizing it might be that exact same monster from the evening broadcast. His brain screamed at him to run and dial the cops, but the beast locked eyes with him and charged full speed, looking for a midnight snack. Cornered by the giant pest, Lin had 0 options left. It was time to throw down. Bam! One punch sent the ugly mutant flying. The beast was totally shook. How was this scrawny-looking high schooler packing such an insane punch? Not giving it a single second to breathe, our boy picked up a heavy chunk of rubble and chucked it straight at the freak. He knew he had to keep playing the ranged game. He just spammed projectile attacks from afar, completely locking the monster out of striking distance. After taking a massive barrage of heavy hits, the oversized pest finally hit the dirt for good. Seeing the threat was eliminated, Lin tried draining its energy, but bagged only 2% this time, compared to his previous 5. Something was definitely clicking. He guessed those shady cult members might be involved, but with the sun almost coming up, he decided it was smart to just head back to his room. A bit later, that same robot girl pulled up to the alley, completely baffled about who managed to solo this beast. Meanwhile, at a super sketchy hideout, one of those creepy followers dragged in a kidnapped girl as a tribute for the rat boss. The giant monster complained that one tiny snack wouldn't even touch his appetite. His minions started groveling immediately, making up excuses. The henchmen whined that because of all the recent curfews and alarms, the city streets were completely empty after dark. Snagging targets quietly was basically impossible right now. So, the furious boss ordered him to start grabbing teenage guys instead to meet the quota. Taking the tribute, the monster tossed a leftover scrap down to his lackey, who greedily scarfed it up while kissing his feet. The boss munched on his prize and demanded an upgrade. He was completely sick of eating basic, everyday civilians. Apparently, regular folks were way too stressed and tough. He craved those pampered, high-level elites who tasted way better thanks to their rich lifestyles. Switching gears back to our hero, he was hosting a private workout session for his buddy indoors, since the city was way too risky right now. He was super determined to boost Shen Qinghan's combat stats, going all out to be the ultimate sparring partner. Once they finished stretching, Lin told her to throw some punches, so he could gauge her base damage. He immediately noticed her form was totally dialed in, and her raw power had seriously leveled up since their last session. She went for a high sweep next, but he instantly stopped her to fix her sloppy stance. By the end of the grind, she was completely wiped out. She wondered aloud if 3 days a week was slacking and suggested going hardcore every single day. Lin stepped in with some facts, telling her that overworking herself wasn't a magical hack for infinite endurance. It would honestly just burn out her muscles completely. He insisted that keeping their current rotation was the smartest play. Right then, a loud ping came from his screen. A massive headline popped up and grabbed both of their eyes. This tech mega corp revealed they were offering pro bono rehab for that legendary cyborg prodigy whose body crashed after early robot upgrades. On top of that crazy news, some genius from Jing College just fused with a super rare arachnid class, setting the record as the youngest teen ever to survive gene splicing at age 18. Usually, you have to be fully grown to even attempt that upgrade. Kids try it. Their systems literally break down, exactly like what happened to that poor girl earlier. Chilling in his room, our guy blocked out the media hype to grind away at his own daily quests. His online fiction was absolutely popping off because his new boosted brain power made drafting epic plots a total breeze. His dad actually read them and hyped him up, saying his writing skills could pull in massive stacks of cash. But honestly, Lin was just sitting there doing the math on how much premium steak that revenue could buy him. Cut to the academy. Their combat instructor set up a sparring bracket to see who was actually leveling up. Big shocker here. Lin completely swept the lobby and snagged the #1 spot yet again. His bestie, though? She caught 0 wins and placed dead last. But honestly, her technique was way sharper than before, proving her slow grind was actually paying off. The coach definitely saw her grinding and gave her props, telling her not to quit on the workouts. He hyped up the squad, announcing that in exactly 30 days, they were going head-to-head against the most overpowered sophomores, and he was determined to turn them all into absolute beasts before the showdown. Our guy finally started cashing in on his writing, but at the butcher's, the guy running the stand offered him a 5% markdown if he grabbed 50 kilos all at once. Hearing that, our dude held off on picking up any cuts since his wallet couldn't handle the 50-kilo minimum yet, choosing to hoard his cash instead. Fast forward to tomorrow, and his bestie was practically dragging him to the dining hall to test out their brand new deep-fried menu. One whiff of that grease had Shen Qinghan absolutely beaming. Grabbing her plate, she bragged about their early timing while glaring at the totally insane lunch rush. Kids were literally throwing elbows just to secure a place in line. Shen asked her buddy to fix the mess, so Lin totally threw the responsibility onto Hiyu. But those shameless line cutters didn't even flinch. They just huddled up, completely convinced their little squad had the numbers advantage, making them totally untouchable. This whole vibe ticked Hiyu off, though he quickly clocked exactly what these jerks were plotting. Shen instantly caught on that Hiyu was in way over his head, so our main guy stepped up, telling the squad to back the heck up. Naturally, one punk smirked and dared him to do something about it. Lin Zichen played it totally cool, flashing his phone to show he had them recorded and was fully ready to snitch. That little threat totally spooked the creeps, proving that pulling a stunt like skipping the queue could absolutely wreck your social standing. Meanwhile, over in the ultra-rich neighborhoods, the cult boss confirmed Xiang was officially dead after totally losing his mind at a local bazaar. He then dragged out some fresh-faced kid, announcing this rookie was stepping right into Xiang's old shoes. On top of that, he dropped the bombshell that the Rat King was completely done with regular folks. Their new targets were exclusively the wealthy elites. The rest of the crew totally pushed back on this crazy pivot, pointing out that snatching high society types is super difficult and their missing posters would spark massive police heat. The boss clapped back, suggesting they target the VIP's kids first since bagging teenagers is way easier than grabbing the adults. He also warned the newbie to chill out on the massive targets for now, ordering him to practice by swiping some basic middle-class teens instead. Not backing down, the rookie swore he'd deliver the absolute most talented kid in town straight to the Rat King. Cut to a bit later, and Hugh was venting endlessly about how insanely stuck up those top-tier academy students were acting. Lin reminded him that acing tests definitely doesn't equal being a decent human being. Right then, a breaking broadcast caught him completely off guard. Yet another trust fund kid had vanished without a trace, making it victim number 5. And with 0 ransom notes dropping, cash obviously wasn't the motive. Honestly, it had to be those shady cultists pulling the strings. Anyway, the massive battle tournament finally kicked off. Guess who was on the opposing squad? Those same line-skipping losers. Almost instantly, Hugh and those punks were throwing serious shade back and forth. Keeping up her usual streak, Shen was the very first warrior to step into the arena for their homeroom. She actually blocked the initial strike perfectly, but that opposing guy was just packing way too much raw power. He didn't just sweep her, that same absolute beast knocked out a bunch of her peers, taking down Li too. One girl from Lin's crew finally clutched the win, totally capitalizing on the fact that the guy was completely gassed out. But then this absolute unit of an upperclassman swaggered into the cage, wrecking 9 straight challengers in under 10 minutes. Lin's bench was looking incredibly empty with just him, Yu, Wang, Shuji, and Lu Gang left standing. Meanwhile, the enemy squad barely had a scratch, boasting 36 fighters after dropping just 5 girls. Seeing that massive power gap, their instructor was literally seconds away from throwing in the towel entirely. But spotting 6 girls left on the enemy roster, he begged Yu to take them on. Our guy hyped himself up, instantly vaulting over the ropes. Honestly, 6 felt like a total ripoff to him. He was really hoping to flex against way more cute opponents. Totally delivering on the hype, he steamrolled right through that female lineup without breaking a single drop of sweat. Next up was the enemy's first dude. Yu ended up staring down one of those cafeteria line cutters, totally roasting him for lacking basic manners and zero survival instincts. That said, the rival exploded forward, totally catching Yu off guard with crazy agility and raw muscle. He even trash-talked Yu, mocking him for folding way too fast. Yu desperately tried to hold his ground, but he was getting totally outclassed in every single exchange. It was a rapid wipeout, leaving Yu completely floored by how terrifyingly overpowered this jerk actually was. Riding his win, the bully immediately called out Lin Zichen, calling him a cowardly little busybody who was too scared to actually throw hands. Hearing that massive disrespect, Lin didn't hesitate to enter the cage, figuring this showdown was the ultimate shortcut to clear his current objective. The entire audience was basically screaming for Lin to win. Nobody liked those line-skipping scumbags anyway, which just pissed the bully off enough to charge in blind. But the second he swung, Lin effortlessly tanked the hit like an absolute boss. Boom. Face meets floor. The cocky dude just got absolutely wrecked in front of everyone. His squad was totally shook, whispering about how their top 5 fighter just got swatted like a fly. Lin Zichen's mentor caught on quick, realizing his pupil was totally holding back and avoiding direct hits. That little flex left the whole class speechless. Without missing a beat, Lin Zichen demanded his next challenger. After that brutal showcase, nobody wanted the smoke. Still, the showdown had to keep rolling. 30 minutes later, he had soloed the 29 remaining rivals. Yet, peeking at his system interface, his quest bar was barely moving. It suddenly clicked for him that being the anchor in these matches meant way less action, which totally sucked. The following morning, he pitched the principal a massive school-wide brawl, offering up prize money for anyone brave enough to fight him. To back up his crazy idea, he dragged the boss straight to the training hall. Totally baffled, she questioned the field trip. He simply smirked, promising a live showcase of his actual power. Freaking out a bit, she half expected some weird bodybuilding flex, but the dude totally blew her mind by deadlifting 700 kilograms like it was nothing. Reality hit her fast. This kid was easily the most overpowered student on campus. With that, she greenlit his massive fight club idea. He made sure to emphasize the loot, knowing nobody would step up without some serious cash on the line. She gave him her word, promising to set the whole gig up perfectly. Plus, he told her to keep his stats on the down low so people wouldn't be too scared to fight. Next up, the boss dialed the combat coach to break down the event details, leaving the poor guy completely clueless. The usually ice-cold principal was acting way too sweet toward Lin Zichen, and the coach was seriously tripping out over it. Either way, throwing this epic brawl together took practically zero time. Since he wasn't exactly famous yet, the head honcho formally presented him to the crowd and laid out the battle rules. Most of the kids thought it was a total joke, writing him off as a cocky freshman with zero skills to back up the hype. Brushing off the haters, he declared that by tomorrow, he'd hold down the training hall for 2 hours daily, taking on literally anyone who wanted smoke. Meanwhile, downtown, some random guy was just chilling on the street when 2 gorgeous girls tried to drag him to a bar. He completely curved them though. Honestly, he was actually hunting for attractive dudes and was super annoyed about his awful luck so far. He wasn't swiping for a date, though he needed a fresh sacrifice for his creepy rat deity. Plot twist. He was actually an undercover cultist on a gig, and he was failing miserably. With the clock ticking down, he was totally stressing out. Suddenly, he spotted Lin Zichen jogging right past him. The cultist's eyes lit up. This athletic kid was the exact target he needed, his ultimate jackpot. The only step left was bagging him, so the creep shadowed him straight into a blind alleyway. Seeing the empty street, The villain figured this kidnapping was going to be an absolute breeze, morphing into his beastly rat state to strike. He suddenly caught a random brick straight to the dome, leaving him seeing stars. Lin Zichen was super annoyed that some oversized rodent dared to crash his workout routine, and he wasn't having it. Dazed on the pavement, the mutant pest couldn't believe its own absolutely terrible luck. Seeing the monster totally freeze up, the teen honestly couldn't believe he one-shotted a villain with literal masonry. Whatever. Free XP is free XP. Not wanting to waste a second, he instantly drained the beast's power before getting caught. Sucking up the stats, he instantly realized why the thing was so squishy. It barely packed 1% of actual demonic energy. That encounter convinced him that late-night jogs were basically a death trap, as he could easily stumble into a massively overpowered boss next time. Stepping through his front door, a crazy breaking news broadcast totally caught his attention. The anchor announced that local law enforcement and some top-tier college professor teamed up to absolutely dismantle that creepy rodent syndicate. The absolute legend who soloed the boss was Wu Tian, an insanely ranked gene modding specialist. The whole raid took exactly 30 seconds, totally wiping the floor with those mutated pests. Watching the clips, the teen finally grasped the crazy power gap between levels. Meanwhile, miles away, someone hit Tian up about the missing academic. Tian Cheng admitted he was clueless, revealing that the whole elite squad sent to lock down the infection zone had vanished too. Even with everyone MIA, he confidently swore they still had the whole crisis completely handled, so he totally just hung back to wipe out those leftover pests. Tian's buddy completely hypes him up, bragging that the same giant monster that wrecked the whole city guard was basically just a pathetic mouse compared to his massive brain. The guy then nudges him to go drop some knowledge on the newbies at his former college. Tian immediately shoots it down though, saying he is way too swamped to babysit random freshmen. Meanwhile, deep down in some creepy subterranean cavern, the boss absolutely chews out the giant rodent for drawing mad heat by snacking on the upper crust of society. The overlord rips into him, furious that he let the swarm breed just to excavate passages, only for this idiot to blow their cover and drag hunters right to their doorstep. For that massive screw-up, the boss threatens to end him on the spot. Panicking, the oversized pest practically grovels, pleading for one final shot to fix things. The monster sneers, hinting he might let it slide, but only if a heavy toll is paid up front. Chewing away, the giant brute admits that despite the awful stench, rodent meat actually slaps. He even praises the critter's big brain play of using a body double to hide in the background. Still, the monster drops a brutal ultimatum finish excavating that underground route, or, you are totally dead meat. Cutting back to our main guy, he is strolling around campus, totally aware that everyone basically thinks he is a massive, conceited jerk now. Honestly though, his brain is way more focused on those runaway outcasts roaming around. The cops dropped massive cash rewards for their capture, but Lin decides to ignore the hustle for now since he desperately needs to keep a low profile. Anyway, he hits up the sports hall just like he scheduled and realizes the place is absolutely packed. Shen grabs the mic, hyping up free gaming rigs and cell phones just for joining, plus a fat stack of cash for the ultimate champion. A bunch of dudes instantly lose their minds, desperate to sign up not just for the loot, but to aggressively simp over Shen. Plot twist though, the first one to step up is a chick, and suddenly, a whole squad of fangirls swarms in, doing anything for an excuse to get near Lin. To these girls, even landing a single tap on his arm would basically be the absolute highlight of their year. Meanwhile, our hero is just super weirded out. Beating up a bunch of random girls really is not his vibe at all. Still, a quest is a quest. He holds way back and gently knocks them all out of bounds. But these crazy fans just keep begging for round 2. Lin shuts that down instantly, making it a strict rule to never rematch losers. Naturally, the girls throw a total fit because they just wanted to stare at him longer. Right on cue, a gang of jealous tough guys steps out, completely eager to smash Lin's face in just to humble him. Too bad for them, our boy absolutely vaporizes every single punk who crosses the ropes. Barely breaking a sweat, he demands fresh meat. Out walks this super cocky dude. The whole audience instantly gasps, realizing it is Yan, the undisputed boss of the sophomore elites. Only 12 months prior, this absolute beast wiped out a whole roster single-handedly during a brawl, cementing his hardcore reputation. Now he is back to flex his dominance all over again by turning Lin into floor dust. He starts talking a massive game, preaching that no matter how tough our hero feels, a bigger fish is always waiting to humble him. Lin could not care less about this villain monologue. Since the guy is practically yapping himself to sleep, our hero decides to wrap things up fast. Completely annoyed by the trash talk, He just launches the sophomore into orbit with one lazy punch, watching a literal top-tier fighter get trashed that effortlessly leaves the entire bleachers absolutely malfunctioning. A few tryhards, though, treat him like a raid boss holding epic loot. Case in point, the top-ranked brawler on campus decides to step up. Shen jumps in, hyping his own power level to the sky. But before he can even finish his dramatic intro, Lin just looks at the ref and begs to start swinging. The whistle blows. Completely triggered by the disrespect, Chen charges forward throwing heat. They clash knuckles in midair. Lin barely flinches, but the other dude's arm essentially turns to jelly. Witnessing their absolute strongest fighter eat dirt instantly turns the whole crowd completely mute. But Lin yells at them to stop freezing up like statues and straight up points at a random guy to get in the ring. The kid scrambles up entirely for that free loot, fully accepting his beating. Lin practically taps him, but it is still enough to one-shot the poor guy. Catching onto the glitch, a wave of dudes line up to get their faces rearranged just to snag those sweet consolation electronics. Grinding through a mountain of scrubs, Lin eventually hits that sweet 1000 victory milestone and clears his digital interface quest. Nailing the objective scores him a clean, super useful permanent buff that heavily boosts his attack stats. Having milked the event dry, he instantly drops out and drags his buddy right out the sports center doors. A bit later, the principal catches up to drop some massive praise on him for claiming the top spot on campus. She brings up how he effortlessly swatted Chen away, proving without a doubt that our guy was totally smurfing this whole time. She points out that during the entrance trials, she literally watched Chen bench press 690 kilograms with zero issues. But then again, she also caught Lin casually hoisting 700 kilograms, and honestly, she bets his real limit is way crazier. Flipping the script, our guy casually asks when that tournament cash is hitting his account. The director totally sees Lin is just in it for the bag, but wires the funds immediately anyway. She adds that moving forward, he is going to be the official face of the college's martial arts squad. But our hero pivots, mentioning his bestie and him love swimming, then begs for access to the campus pool. He even pushes for 24/7 private access. Honestly, his campus clout is so massive now that she just agrees instantly. Lin throws out a random excuse, claiming he is super self-conscious in trunks, demanding they kill the security feed while he is in the water. Letting two teens chill in a dark pool seems sketchy to the director, definitely giving her major ulterior motives vibes. Even so, she caves to his crazy terms. Tossing him the keys, she grants them total VIP pool privileges, just begging him not to do anything stupid in there. Walking out, our guy realizes this is the perfect setup to test his bestie's hidden powers. Meanwhile, Shen hits him up with a huge favor. She entered this vocal contest and desperately needs a duet partner for rehearsals. Naturally, he promises to back her up. Seeing Shen finally step out of her comfort zone, he really hopes this boosts her self-esteem. Fast forward a bit, he pulls up to Shen's place for practice. Downstairs, her dad nervously questions leaving teens unchaperoned upstairs. Her mom brushes it off, reminding him they grew up together. Sure, they are older, but she trusts them completely and tells her hubby to seriously chill out. Upstairs, our boy calls time on their intense vocal session, suggesting she grind through some homework instead. He hypes up their private swim lesson tomorrow, reminding her to pack gear. Shen promises she absolutely will not forget, but solo, she totally panics over the outfit, caught between rocking something cute or playing it super safe. Honestly, since it is just the two of them at the facility, she realizes she is overthinking the whole swimwear crisis. The following day, our hero scoped out the pool. Exactly as promised, those lenses were totally blinded. Zero stress. Right on cue, his bestie showed up. She apologized for the wardrobe delay. Lin played it incredibly cool, but internally, he was absolutely losing it over her. Flustered, he immediately changed the subject, declaring it was time to grind. They hit the water flawlessly. Suddenly, Shen sensed major weirdness and frantically signaled Lin to swim upward. Hauling themselves onto the tiles, he demanded answers. Panicking, she explained the liquid was literally phasing through her flesh. Scooping up a handful, it instantly glitched straight through her palms. The poor girl was totally tripping out. Freaking out, Shen begged for an explanation. Lin immediately guessed her secret abilities had awakened, grabbing her wrist to investigate the crazy phenomenon himself. Everything looked perfectly normal except for the ghost hands thing. Naturally, he suggested testing if her entire anatomy was liquid-proof. Soon after, Lin awkwardly flicked droplets onto various random spots of her skin. Getting super embarrassed, Shen squirmed and demanded to know when this weird experiment would end. Wrapping up, Lin concluded that her palms were basically the only magic parts right now. Shen nervously confessed her childhood bladder issues, wondering if that embarrassing weakness was actually connected to these fresh powers. He admitted it actually made weird sense, urging her to concentrate and figure out her own limits. Internally, he sighed, relieved he had not crossed any creepy lines. Meanwhile, Shen had an epic realization. She was not chronically ill. She was literally an elemental badass. If she mastered this, she could finally fight alongside Lin and prove she was his ultimate equal. Hours later, our guy hit the bazaar market, casually ordering 50 kilograms of premium eagle cuts. Stunned by the massive order, the vendor quickly offered to drop the haul at his crib. Remembering his face, she assumed he was some insane rich kid flexing his wealth, immediately begging for a 5-star rating online. Lin smiled, knowing his fat tournament check, combined with his fresh author payout, made this splurge totally doable. Grabbing that returning customer discount, he secured all 50 kilos. He didn't waste a single second sucking up all that sweet life energy. His system chimed in, confirming he'd maxed out the Tyrant Eagle's essence to 100%, unlocking the crazy cool celestial eye trait. Zichen's eyesight leveled up massively, giving him literal superhuman eagle vision that put total normies to absolute shame. Taking it for a spin up on a roof, he could straight up read someone's text messages from miles away. Yeah, this was definitely going to come in handy. Getting back to his place, the news was blowing up about a third-generation gene modder freaking out in public and taking down hundreds of people. A bunch of scientists were arguing that DNA splicing was a massive mistake, insisting we seriously needed to stop mixing freaky monster traits with human bodies. But the other side argued regular fighting styles wouldn't cut it against these beasts. So we had to fight fire with literal fire. Zichen's dad totally agreed, calling those modified dudes walking time bombs just waiting to wreck everything. His mom, Jiang Wangshen, told him to chill since that tech is super regulated anyway. It's not like any random person could score those genes. She pointed out the biggest catch was the whole going sterile thing after the mod, meaning you pretty much had to start your family beforehand or miss out forever. Catching her son walking in, Wangshen got super flustered about discussing baby making in front of him. Desperate to switch topics, his folks quickly announced it was time to grub. While eating, Zichen casually brought up his bestie's big singing gig happening the very next day. His parents were hyped to support Shen Qinghan since she was basically family. Fast forward to showtime. With his folks screaming from the crowd, our guy was backstage playing personal makeup artist for his girl. Out of nowhere, Qinghan caught him staring and totally called him out on it. Zichen just shrugged and said she looked gorgeous, which immediately turned her face bright red. Li Chuqian suddenly crashed the room, teasing them about their flirting session while Qinghan scrambled to use the makeup as an excuse. Chuqian wasn't buying it, joking they were basically dating anyway and should just own it. She popped in purely to give a 5-minute warning for stage time, then quickly dipped so her bestie could finish prepping. But the pressure was really starting to get to Qinghan's head. She totally panicked, telling Zichen she was mentally breaking down, crying her eyes out over what to do next. Between sobs, she vented about how some stupid last-second wardrobe malfunction was about to ruin months of hardcore practice. He stepped in immediately to calm her down, begging her to chill before she wrecked that flawless eyeliner. Spotting the thick drapes hanging nearby gave him a crazy genius idea. Snagging some scissors, he sliced right into the fabric. Working fast, Zichen literally crafted a brand new outfit on the spot, telling her to hit the bathroom and swap clothes. With zero time left, she told him to just face the wall because she was stripping down right there in the room. Feeling super awkward, he glued his eyes to the wall until she slipped into the makeshift fit and gave the all clear. She was beyond grateful that he clutched up so hard for her, swearing the waterworks were over, and she felt pumped. He hyped her up one last time, telling her to go absolutely slay the stage. Shockingly, she completely ignored the massive crowd's pressure and absolutely crushed her vocal performance. That legendary set won her first place, leaving Zichen bursting with pride over his bestie. Of course, a teacher busted them over the shredded window drapes later, landing our guy straight in detention doing janitor chores the next morning. Right then, his interface flashed he had hit 1,000 daily quests, scoring him the epic social butterfly trait. And speaking of being social, Qinghan's popularity straight up exploded after taking the crown. Not only did her squad expand, but that win gave her insane confidence, helping her totally bounce back. She absolutely dominated the later rounds. Meanwhile, our boy snagged the martial arts captain spot, dragging his entire college to back-to-back championships. His winning streak even landed him a sick brand deal, repping his buddy Hugh's family training hall. Stacking that sweet sponsor cash with his web novel earnings, he realized he finally had enough to grab a brand new power. Zero hesitation, he hit the local exotic market immediately. He threw his money down for some phantom dragon flesh, famous for supreme stealth. Absorbing it to 100% instantly granted him its sneaky powers. Boom, he now had built-in active camo, letting him slip completely under the radar against basically anything. He quickly realized this new perk was totally broken, perfect for dishing out damage and tanking hits. Heading back later, he spotted cops taking some girl into custody right as he bumped into an old buddy. Turns out, it was upperclassman Jang Kai, rocking a brand new pair of full metal robotic legs. Kai dropped the backstory. After blowing his college admissions, a brutal bike crash left him needing a double amputation. But honestly, he lucked out by joining the Deus Mecha Squad's cyborg project to score those sweet cyber limbs. He also dropped a bomb. That busted girl was a heretic shadow, the final female out of the surviving 9. With that, Kai bounced, leaving him behind. That got our hero thinking. While the local cops struggled, Deus Mecha was actually wiping the floor with those mutant rodents. Definitely a crew he shouldn't sleep on anymore. Right then, his mom rang him up, and he promised he'd be heading back with the cake pronto. Since Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan were born just a day apart, they always threw joint parties. Hitting 18 made this one a massive milestone. Candles out, presents swapped. But before anyone could tear off the wrapping paper, a massive tremor shook everything up. He instantly knew this wasn't your average seismic activity. Deep underground, those freaky rodents were still carving out massive tunnel networks. The quake went viral locally in seconds, though luckily, it didn't trigger any major disasters or casualties. Knowing earthquakes basically never happen there, he connected the dots. Some underground beast had to be causing the chaos. Anyway, he walked to class with his friend like normal. Shen Qinghan admitted she was totally stressing over this whole becoming an adult thing. Off-screen, our boy finally scraped together enough cash to absorb the Void Eel's power, unlocking a slick new skill. He basically got a radar that picks up hostility and instantly ranks the danger level of any nearby enemies. Freshly leveled up, he hit the local shopping center to take his new tracking ability for a spin. Sadly, he only picked up boring, zero-threat civilians. Figuring he shouldn't waste the trip, he started craving some monster meat snacks. Zombie worm jerky caught his eye, but the crazy price tag meant it was way out of his league right now. He definitely needed to grind for more cash to hit 100% absorption. Meanwhile, across town, Yuan Dongji, Shanghai Uni's vice principal and top educational boss, was getting the latest intel drop on the situation. She gave her assistant props, noting things were finally chill enough for her to actually review the freshers' entrance exams. For the moment, she wrapped up the briefing, nostalgic about taking on a pupil again. That martial arts college trial spans 9 brutal days. Day 1 is basic. Paper tests in the morning, followed by a grueling physical checkup right after lunch. Then, from day 2 straight through 8, it's pure survival mode. Candidates get dumped in the woods to fight it out for 7 days. Day 9 tests their compatibility for gene splicing and cybernetic upgrades. Cut back to our guy. Testing day finally dropped, and he was totally pumped to show off. His girl, though, totally freaking out, praying nothing went sideways like last time. Lin Zichen hyped her up, reminding her that her theoretical knowledge was top tier and she could handle literally any plot twist. Feeling better, she promised to crush it and told him he better not slack off either. Naturally, he speedrun the written portion and spent the rest of the time dying of boredom. Stepping out, his first thought was checking in to see if his bestie survived the paper. Spotting her in the corridor, she flashed a thumbs up but bolted past him because she desperately needed a bathroom break. Later on, Lin Zichen crushed the physicals, effortlessly deadlifting 950 kilograms and absolutely styling on the other drills. A total flex that left even the top-tier kids shook. Catching up with Shen Qinghan, he asked for her stats. She admitted her scores were just decently above average, basically nothing next to his monstrous numbers. He shut that down quick, telling her she was elite tier and only going up from here. Right then, Hugh crashed the chat screaming that the written grades dropped. He was hyped about snagging 80 points. She logged in and saw her 82. Shocking literally nobody. Our boy bagged a flawless 100, sparking a massive hype session. Heading out, she brought up tomorrow's wilderness trial, completely stressed about whatever insane traps awaited them. He swore he'd stick close and play bodyguard, guaranteeing she wouldn't catch a single scratch. Somewhere else, a masked dude briefed his team about tomorrow's forest drop, ordering security to keep those 10 prodigies locked down. The guy slides him a stash of 10 dark seeds, hyping up their power. This masked dude hints that crushing the mission might score the cop a sweet VIP promotion, but the cop totally plays it cool, brushing off the rush because right now, he only wants an anomaly fruit. Masked guy admits that fruit packs a solid upgrade, but swears joining their crew would unlock crazy, next-level powers he couldn't fathom. He basically drops the mic, insisting that going official with the squad totally beats grinding for solo level ups any day. Meanwhile, our hero and his best friend catch a ride heading straight for the woodland arena. Shen Qinghan totally crashed the entire drive. Once they actually pulled up, the proctors started breaking down the game rules. Hidden tokens are scattered everywhere, and while anyone can totally tap out whenever they want, doing so means an instant disqualification. They would also be dealing with some freaky mutated animals, though those boss-level threats are strictly meant for the absolute tryhards, so regular kids should definitely run the other way. Cameras are recording literally everything, and out of 100,000 hopefuls, exactly 50% are getting cut today. One rich kid tried throwing cash for backup, but the teacher shut it down instantly, saying official squads are totally banned. But get this, there is literally zero rule against backing someone up, or even straight up robbing them blind. Once the briefing wrapped, a bunch of girls flocked to our main guy, but he literally left them all on read. Right after, some random dude walked up, trying to drop serious cash on some of Lin Zichen's snacks. Our hero flexed that he wasn't desperate for cash, and just casually tossed the guy some grub for free. The dude, calling himself Hong Jumping, acted like he couldn't take charity, and used it as an excuse to beg for a party invite. Hard pass from our boy. Getting instantly shot down, the guy mumbled a quick thanks and awkwardly bounced out of there. Shen Qinghan pointed out all the actual snack shops nearby, wondering out loud why that creep bothering them instead. Lin smirked, explaining that the dude was clearly just using the food as a lame excuse to hit on her. Whatever though, our guy decided it was time to actually start grinding and secure a massive jump on the competition. To let his bestie warm up safely without getting wrecked, Lin kept them near the edge of the woods, deciding to just farm for easy tokens on the map order initially. Activating his crazy sniper vision ability, the MC spotted a hidden token way up in the branches and hyped Shen Qinghan to climb for it. They totally hyped each other up. Moments later, his eagle eyes caught a bunch more loot, and they completely swept the zone. Just as they were really vibing, Hong Jumping popped up like a bad penny, swearing this random meetup was just super lucky. Bragging about his 28 points, he tried playing the nice guy by offering to split his stash as a little thank you. Lin saw right through the simp behavior. The guy was literally just desperate to join their squad and charm Shen Qinghan. Our boy bluntly reminded him the squad was closed, but hilariously agreed to snatch up the free loot anyway. That triggered Hong so incredibly hard. He totally snapped and threw a wild punch, screaming about insane disrespect. Lin didn't even try to argue, but there was zero chance he was ever taking that hit. He literally just dropped the kid like a sack of potatoes, swiped the tokens, and casually strolled right off. With the trash taken out, the duo pushed into the deep woods for more drops. The MC even showed his bestie how to spear wild pigs using literal bamboo sticks. On top of the fresh barbecue, they also managed to forage a ton of berries. They easily wrecked a few campers trying to jump them, and once completely burnt out, they pitched a cozy tent and crashed together. Hours passed before they hit the dead center of the map, where the freaky monster bosses supposedly spawned. But Shen Qinghan pointed out they probably totally missed the raid, since the area was literally a ghost town. She sighed, complaining that if they had been quicker, they could have secured that legendary genius flex by clapping the boss. Our boy totally shrugged it off though, claiming that specific clout chaser title was completely overrated anyway. Plus, sticking to the main path was way smarter. Honestly, with security cams everywhere, he could not suck up the monster's core energy secretly anyway. The literal second the survival games wrapped up, the crazy DNA matching exams kicked right off. Every single surviving kid got herded to this high-tech lab island, queuing up like cattle right outside. They got scanned one at a time. Shen Qinghan peeked at the chemicals, asking if that neon stuff was for their actual blood work. Nodding, our guy dropped some serious lore. It is giant cloud jellyfish juice. Since human bodies rarely reject it, it is the perfect starter pack for mutations. The lab coats basically just draw a little blood from the teens and shake it up with that weird jelly extract. They basically judge your whole fusion vibe based on how crazy your reaction gets. Hugh stepped up, hoping for a good score, totally dreaming of scoring some sick cybernetic upgrades. Lai Chuxin was like, "Nah, I heard getting those metal parts hurts like crazy. I'll pass on that." Either way, the two of them were just crossing their fingers to actually pass this thing. Shen Qinghan went first out of our squad, and then we all just chilled in the lounge waiting for the tea. Our main guy could hear kids hyping up their high scores, while others were totally crying over flopping. He remembered that Jingdu Genius only scored 16%, so he figured he could definitely beat that. His bestie, though, she was literally shaking waiting for her numbers to drop. He tried to hype her up, but honestly knew if she failed, their days of hanging out at school we're totally over. Then Lin Zichen gets a 10%, and Yu grabs an 11. Lin Zichen mentions their scores gotta be up next, but his bestie is too terrified to even peek at the screen, totally spiraling into panic mode. So he checks his own score first, 15%. She freaks out for him, claiming he's gotta be the top scorer in the whole province. Honestly though, he felt totally underwhelmed and realized being physically ripped doesn't guarantee a high score at all. At this point, he tells his bestie it's finally time to face the music and check hers. She's stressing so hard she makes him look at the screen for her, but his jaw just drops. Turns out, she totally crushed his score. Shen Qinghan actually pulled a wild 21%. Meanwhile, over at the main education hub, the vice director is hardcore analyzing the latest batch of scores. She spots Lin Zichen's stats and is super impressed, thinking it might be the ultimate high score of the year. Everyone is hyping up Director Bai for his genius student, but then another score pops up and literally leaves the whole room shook. They stare at Shenning's insane numbers, completely questioning if a score like that is even real. Even Bai is mind blown since she'd totally bet everything on Lin Zichen. The boss immediately asks who this Shen Qinghan chick even is. Bai admits the girl is usually super average in class and swears the system must be glitching or something. Hearing that drama, Yuan Dongji decides she's gonna pull up and investigate the whole thing herself. Back at the testing spot, Shen Qinghan thinks her score is a total glitch, but her buddy isn't buying it. He points out her crazy natural connection with water, plus that giant cloud jellyfish they used is literally a water monster. She's like, wait, am I some secret water prodigy? He hypes her up, and she finally starts vibing with her score. Out of nowhere, they both jump as someone literally surfs in on a massive wave. A bunch of kids instantly recognize her as the Dragon Lady, Yuan Dongji, and are absolutely terrified of her aura. The staff completely glazes the vice director when she drops in, since her whole family is famous for having actual dragon DNA. Then the dragon boss walks right up to Shen Qinghan, leaving the poor girl totally shaking in her boots. She demands 3 extra blood vials for double checking. Once it's over, her friend asks if she's feeling dizzy from losing all that blood. She says she's chilling, but then a lab tech immediately pulls her aside again. Up in the big office, Yuan Dongji drops the news. The new tests are flawless, and Shen Qinghan's stats are 100% legit. Not wasting a single second, the boss lady straight up asks her to be her personal student. Shen Qinghan is completely gagged and can't even speak. The VP promises that if she says yes, she'll be surfing on water exactly like she just did. Still overwhelmed, Shen Qinghan says it's all super crazy and asks for a minute to process the whole thing. The dragon lady pushes harder, flexing that she runs the whole education board and the top uni, so it's a massive win. By teaming up with her, Shen Qinghan gets an automatic golden ticket into the academy. Feeling totally backed into a corner, she can't say no. The VP then casually asks to swap digits. She hands over her phone number, totally realizing she just got roped into this wild mentorship. The boss drops a huge plot twist. She has another student who joined 10 years ago but is somehow the exact same age. He tells her to treat this other girl like a big sister, airdropping a pic and saying they'll meet up super soon. The second Shen Qinghan looks at the screen, she gasps it's literally her old classmate, Bei. She tells her new boss they totally go way back, which makes Yuan Dongji super curious about their history. She explains how they went to school together years ago before Bei randomly transferred out, leaving the VP totally shook by the crazy coincidence. Anyway, she insists on doing a full checkup on her fresh pupil, just to spot any hidden physical quirks. Once the scan wraps up, Yuan Dongji mentions how ridiculously basic the teen's physical stats actually are. Even so, she promises to totally lock down Shen Qinghan's real test scores. They plan to fake a way lower sync score on the public files, mostly just to keep the girl out of danger. After swapping phone details, the vice boss finally lets her rookie student head out. The second Shen Qinghan steps out, Yuan Dongji dials her dad. She spills that she bagged the rare kid as a pupil and totally found out she's besties with Lin. Her old man is super hyped about this update, claiming those two are seriously bound for greatness and need to stay close. But he makes it clear this info has to stay totally strictly under wraps. A bit later, our main guy gets the scoop and thinks it is super weird how fast Shen Qinghan got scooped up by a pro. Still, he chooses to just brush it off and tells her to play it totally cool. He promises he will always have her back no matter what. Right after, they link up with their moms who were chilling nearby. Both crews get ready to hit up a food spot to hype up the kids for absolutely crushing it. At the dinner, they raise a glass to the massive win, and then everyone just heads back to their own places. Later that evening, our hero's mom opens the front door and jokingly wonders if Shen Qinghan is crashing over again. Super blushing, The girl quickly clarifies that she absolutely is not there for a sleepover, but actually needs to chat about some major stuff face to face. His mom waves her inside, completely charmed by how awkward she is acting. Once indoors, she makes a beeline for Lin's bedroom for their chat, dropping that it is all about her mentor, Yuan Dongji. She explains how her coach ran a full physical scan but basically found zero superhuman traits. On top of that, the pro totally missed the fact that her skin completely repels liquids. Lin thinks this is super shady, because a literal water master really should have caught onto her student's crazy water trick. Our boy realizes his bestie's anatomy is low-key wilder than expected, but begs her to keep it completely hushed up for now. He points out that leveling up is awesome, but keeping their hidden buffs strictly between them is way smarter. She keeps going, revealing her teacher actually trains someone else too. She pulls out a pic, totally convinced it is Bai from their old school. The main dude sees the matching looks right away, but totally spots that the vibe in the picture is completely off. He quickly asks if she has any clue about the location in the background. She admits she is clueless, but decides to text her boss. Her teacher shoots back that the spot is called Yuandi, hinting the rookie will get the full scoop eventually. Catching that vibe, our guy figures it is honestly way smarter to just play the waiting game. Out of nowhere, Shining flops onto his mattress and casually asks if guys are universally obsessed with girls in skin-tight outfits. He instantly suspects her wild new mentor planted that thought. He just shrugs and says it heavily depends on the girl and the fit, but she is not letting him dodge the question. Feeling the heat, Lin finally caves and confesses he is definitely into dresses. Then his buddy hits him with the ultimate trap, asking if he vibes more with dark or light leggings. Totally confused by the random interrogation, Lin just admits dark is his favorite. Hearing that, she seems super satisfied with the intel. Right on cue, his mom, Zhang Wangan, does a quick knock on the bedroom door. She passes over an overnight pack that Shening's mom dropped off. The poor girl turns bright red, swearing she wasn't planning to crash and has zero clue why her mom packed it. His mom just laughs, saying they are basically grown up and not to stress, before hollering a sweet goodnight. Even though she is dying of awkwardness inside, the teen figures crashing there is just the easiest move now. While digging through the care package, she spots something super weird. The second she realizes what the object is, she violently shoves it out of sight, totally freaking out over why her mom would ever pack something that unhinged. All panicked, she mumbles about needing to change into pajamas, leaving our guy standing there completely utterly lost. Fast forward a bit, and both teens officially score spots in the highly elite evolution program at Shanghai College. They pedal away from home together since they literally just inked a deal with the Hue Clan's fighting gym. But while riding to the hype rally, a sketchy gang blocks their path. The top dog steps right up and straight up asks if he is Lin. Instead of just saying yes, our guy demands to know who is asking. The dude drops his name as Lu Chuanwu, claiming to be the head fighting coach at the college and bragging that he reps the whole Celestial Man group. That faction is basically a super old school cult that heavily hates on any genetic splices or cyborg upgrades. Sure, they've got a massive online following, but plenty of haters still call them total scammers. Lu Chuanwu practically begs our boy to join his squad. Lin shoots him down, but the dude won't quit, begging for just 5 minutes and even bribing him with a seriously tricked out new phone. While they're chatting, Lu drops the lore. His dojo is all about maxing out raw, pure, blooded human stats with zero sketchy gene editing required. The whole vibe is about smashing past basic human limits and leveling up into the ultimate life form. He brags that they're already seeing crazy progress and pulls up a clip to flex. On screen, his dojo's top dog, rocking a supposed Tier 9 power scaling, absolutely dunks on a gene-spliced fighter way out of his league. Lin recognizes the victim instantly. It's Wu Yin, the absolute unit who soloed the rat god cult. Even with his crazy high stats, Wu Yin couldn't even scratch the guy. Instead, he got one shot. Lu uses this to hype up the natural human body, saying we don't need to leech off alien or beast DNA. Lin is practically picking his jaw off the floor. Seeing his shock, Lu swears on his life the footage isn't faked and invites him to catch their next brawl in person. He admits he's dying to drop these clips all over the internet, but the higher-ups keep shadow banning him. The government only cares about hyping up gene splicers while leaving his crew in the dust. So now he's hustling to build hype offline, and having a prodigy like Lin backing them up would be a massive win. Lu admits his boss has pretty much hit his level cap, but he swears a gifted kid like Lin could shatter that ceiling completely. Then he drops a major bomb. His boss might look like a fit 60-year-old, but he's pushing 100, all thanks to their secret training. If Lin thinks he's capping, Lu tells him to just Google it on the Kondu wiki. Our boy actually runs a quick search and finds out this body tempering stuff really does act like an anti-aging hack. He also digs up that back in the day, Lu was a top-tier prodigy from the most legendary martial arts family in Nanjing, but when the whole gene splicing meta took over, his clan couldn't keep up and totally fell off. Even his own wife and kids bailed on him because he stubbornly refused to upgrade his DNA while the rest of them sold out. Lin immediately thinks about his own bestie, Shen Qinghan, knowing she'd never ditch him like that. That's just day one loyalty. Plot twist, though, he realizes Lu's ex-wife is actually Yuan Dongji, his best friend's current mentor. Suddenly, he realizes this old man isn't someone to mess around with. Meanwhile, Lu keeps flexing his youthful skin routine, claiming his anti-aging glow-up proves the training is legit. He goes on a rant that stealing animal DNA just means humanity will forever be stuck playing second fiddle to actual monsters. He warns that if we don't quit the genetic shortcuts, our enemies are eventually going to wipe the floor with us. That's the core reason his crew rejects the meta. They want to provide a real alternative. So, he doubles down on recruiting the kid, hyping up how teaming up could totally shift the culture and push humanity to its peak. Lu is totally convinced Lin is the chosen one to finally break the system as a 100% natural human. Now, actually curious, Lin asks for the gameplay mechanics behind this body tempering. Lu reveals its ancient ruin loot. It basically uses your own blood and chi to forge your body like a weapon, massively boosting your damage output. He also calls it a literal art form, which means gene splicers are completely locked out of it since their bloodlines are basically polluted. After digesting all that, Lin admits it sounds cool, but he's not ready to commit blind, preferring to chill for a bit. The boomer isn't having it, though, pushing hard that while the learning curve is steep, a cracked player like him could easily outscale everyone. Lu keeps yapping, noting that normies think high genetic scores make you a prodigy, but in his dojo, those numbers are basically trash. When he saw Lin absolutely crush the physical exams, he knew instantly he was the highest value recruit in the whole region. Then he messes up by throwing shade, claiming Lin has god-tier potential, while the girl standing next to him is basically a nobody. Shen Qinghan, who was just minding her own business, is suddenly like, wait, why am I catching strays? Lin isn't about to let that slide and instantly steps up for his bestie. He claps back that she scored the absolute highest in the region and deserves respect. Snatching the free phone, he immediately dips. Completely desperate, Lu begs for a 6-month test run, swearing that once the trial is up, our guy will be blown away by the results. He even promises his dojo will triple whatever perks the evolution class handed out. That insane offer catches our hero's attention, and he finally caves, agreeing to give the probationary phase a shot. Lu is thrilled to have him on board, though he secretly sweats about the massive fortune this is going to cost him. Changing the subject, our MC casually drops a question about a mysterious spot known as Yuandi. Taken aback, the dojo master explains that people consider Yuandi the literal cradle of life. Basically, it is the birthplace of every single mutant beast out there. Lin Zichen connects the dots. Yuandi literally means origin land and realizes mankind already cracked the code on how to get inside. Lu goes on to reveal that the monster meat flooding the markets is sourced straight from there. Otherwise, they would completely run out of food. He also drops a crazy detail. Tech totally fries inside that zone, so the only way to capture an image is by sketching it out by hand. Right then and there, everything clicks for Lin regarding that weird photo. But before he can ask more, his cell starts buzzing. It is the promo event manager checking on their ETA. Lin texts back that they are already en route. He gives the dojo boss a quick heads up that he has to bounce, promising to wrap up their chat another time. Just before Lin dips out, the boss tosses him a translated edition of the blood tempering manual, packed with hardcore cultivation secrets. Still, he drops a strict warning. Do not even try this until hitting tier 4 with decent chi reserves. Assuming the kid is barely scraping that milestone, Lu suggests treating the manual as some light summer reading. Lin just smirks internally, considering he is already sitting at tier 6. Mastering this art will be an absolute breeze. A while later, at a different location, a fierce girl is throwing punches in training when Lu wanders over. Pausing her workout, she asks why her mentor is grinning like an absolute idiot. Bragging hard, he claims his undeniable charm just locked down the absolute strongest prodigy from the regional physical exams. The girl is visibly shocked but completely calls his bluff regarding the whole charisma nonsense. Folding instantly, Lu confesses to bribing the kid with triple the evolution course's salary. This totally pisses his student off, but he is quick to defend the move, claiming he already lined up dates with 3 rich sugar mamas to easily fund this insane expense. Quickly pivoting, he asks how long it actually took her to sense her inner chi back in the day. She shrugs, saying it took roughly 7 days. Since Lu needed double that time, he always considered her a genuine genius. Still, she vents her frustration. Throwing away gene fusion for this dojo means she is stuck without a high-tier evolution. Even after grinding for 10 straight years, Lu tries to cool her down, reminding her that while this path is a brutal grind, hitting the advanced stage makes you practically untouchable. Snapping back, she points out she has already survived 2 brutal rounds of body tempering, yet her meridians are totally blocked. She seriously doubts this new Lin kid could ever outclass her. Her master stands firm, insisting the rookie's test stats are off the charts and betting on a massive power spike from him. Hearing the hype, the girl smirks, declaring that as his veteran senior, she is going to personally educate this newbie on how things work. Meanwhile, back at his crib, Lin cracks open the manual. It literally takes him mere seconds to spark his chi. Next up, hijacking his bloodstream's energy to kickstart the tempering phase. Starting with his arm, the system immediately chimes in, showing his physical stats skyrocketing. Just minutes into reinforcing his right limb, he decides to stress test his new armor. Realizing regular steel cannot even scratch his skin anymore, he figures this exact trick saved Lu from those monster strikes. The math is simple. Applying this to his entire anatomy would make him indestructible. Hours later, with just his arms done, he estimates a full body upgrade will take roughly 7 days. Right in the zone, a text from his friend suddenly kills his focus. She is begging him to rush over to her place for some mysterious surprise she set up. A midnight invite is definitely sketchy, but Lin throws on his shoes and heads over regardless. Mrs. Shu answers the door, casually sending him up to her daughter's bedroom. Walking in, Lin is super confused to find his friend hiding entirely under the blankets. Muffled from the bed, she claims she arranged a huge surprise, but is suddenly dying of embarrassment. His mind immediately races with wild guesses. Still, knowing Shen Qinghan, he is pretty sure it isn't anything crazy scandalous. Pushing past the awkwardness, she tells him to just pull back the sheets and see. Heart pounding a bit, Lin actually goes for it. Pulling back the blanket, Lin Zichen found his bestie rocking a super cute dress. Shen Qinghan wondered if it looked good, and a totally flustered Lin Zichen nodded. She then mentioned snagging some dark tights, asking if he was down to see those too. Our guy said yes in a heartbeat. Once she changed, he totally hyped her up, swearing the stockings pulled the whole look together flawlessly. She bragged about how cozy they were, practically daring him to feel the fabric for himself. Giving in, he touched the material and had to admit it was crazy soft. Right then, she dropped the bomb that his mom had dropped off an overnight bag for him. Grabbing his stuff, he noticed the items inside and realized his mom was totally jumping the gun. They were not even official yet. Moving on, she warned him no peeking while she swapped into her PJs. Fast forward, and they were chilling under the same covers. He noticed this amazing fragrance, asking if she sprayed some kind of perfume on the mattress. She fired back that it was just her natural vibe, teasing him to lean in closer if he doubted her. He leaned in, the vibe got instantly magnetic, and suddenly, their lips met for the absolute first time. Out of nowhere, Shen Qinghan panicked. She jumped up thinking she completely spilled something, but realized this intense wave of energy felt entirely brand new. He asked if she just experienced a massive adrenaline spike. Nodding, she admitted the whole moment sent her pulse into overdrive and hyped her up way too much. He grinned, claiming that totally checked out with his theory. It turns out her secret ability was linked to her soul energy, and she was accidentally unlocking it. With some practice, she would master it completely, but for tonight, catching some sleep and cracking the code tomorrow seemed like the smartest move. Come morning, her mom whipped up some food and called him over to grab a bite. Pulling up a chair, he mentioned that the birthday girl was still dead to the world. Her dad scoffed, wishing his kid had an ounce of the boy's morning hustle. Stepping up for her, he argued that holding the region's top score basically earned her extra snooze time over break. Once breakfast wrapped, he threw up a peace sign and headed out. The second the door clicked, Shu Mang spilled the tea to her husband about catching the teens up late, wondering if their little girl was finally maturing. The dad totally agreed, prompting Shu to dial up the boy's mom immediately for a juicy gossip session. Back at his own place, our guy decides to finally toss yesterday's fit into the laundry. Just as he is heading out again, his mom pops up beaming, throwing him a massive high five that leaves him absolutely clueless. Miles away, a squad rolled up on the head honcho of the pavilion, Liu Chuanwu, grilling him about the kid. Playing dumb, the boss acted like he had zero idea what was going on. The evolution instructor was not having it, screaming that he stole his star pupil using super shady tricks and fake promises. Rolling his eyes, the leader snapped back that everyone is hustling for rookies, insisting his own hands were totally clean. They bickered endlessly. The boss held his ground, arguing his offer was legit, and the teenager had the ultimate say. Not buying it. The rival declared him a hypocrite and demanded they settle things with a fight. Hard pass from the leader, claiming he was not psycho enough to throw hands, considering their massive power gap. Storming off, the angry instructor yelled that Gene Tech always wins in the end. Still, he stayed completely obsessed with crushing that faction, swearing their downfall was only a matter of time. Next stop was whining to the vice admin. Though she totally talked him off the ledge, she promised the kid would ditch the old school club for science soon enough. But Ma Genhee barked that she was missing the bigger picture. In his eyes, the rival crossed a major line and needed severe payback. Her big brain idea? Steal the second-place rookie right from under their enemy's nose for the ultimate flex. Sold on the scheme, he locked it in. Watching him walk away, Yuan Dongji quietly analyzed how her partner, usually so chill, just straight up loses his mind whenever his nemesis enters the chat. She also mused that all these years later, their old enemy was still spitting absolute fire. Deep down, she figured he had the raw talent to run the whole academy instead of her current boss. By skipping the mutation route, he totally embraced staying weak. Anyway, catching up with Lin Zichen, he is out jogging with Shen Qinghan. She is totally gassed. Though, catching her struggle, Lin tosses her a water bottle so she can rehydrate. He calls the workout there and offers to massage her sore legs. Shen Qinghan completely agrees and crashes on a nearby bench. Lin steps up and works out the tight knots in her calves, earning a really sweet thank you from her. Lin totally brushes it off, telling her that being polite is way too formal for how close they are. She instantly jumps on that, teasingly asking if that means they are officially dating. Lin immediately panics and friend-zones them as just family. That was absolutely not the answer she wanted. Shooting her shot, she straight up asks to be his future wife. Surprisingly, Lin just rolls with it. She locks it in with a pinky swear, demanding they tie the knot right after graduating college. He says yes, fully aware there is absolutely no backing out now. Fast forward a bit, and Lin is just kicking back at home with his folks. The doorbell suddenly buzzes, prompting his dad to go see who is crashing their evening. It is Principal Ma, which totally confuses his dad. Ma apologizes for dropping by so late, claiming he desperately needs a serious chat with Lin. His dad is super confused, figuring his kid already locked in his school choice. So why all this intense pushiness? The principal awkwardly hands over a fresh fish he snagged on the way as a random peace offering for the parents. With the ice successfully broken, he steps inside to finally spill the tea. Sitting in the living room, the principal hypes up Lin's potential as a beast fusion superhuman, saying he shouldn't bother with alternative routes. He throws some major shade, noting that while the celestial human pavilion definitely means well, their theories are basically hot air since they have literally never shown any real concrete results. He begs Lin not to flush his insane talent down the drain with junk science, pushing him to stick strictly with genetic mods. Hearing this, Lin's mom gets completely lost, since she was convinced her son was already locked in for the evolution school. Lin awkwardly admits he totally forgot to drop the huge news that he actually signed with the pavilion instead. He explains he basically swapped his major at the absolute last second to chase the pure blood build. His mom instantly starts freaking out, but Lin defends his choice, saying the pavilion boss was super genuine and offered 3 times the loot. He does add a quick disclaimer, though, stating that if he does not level up within 6 months, he will absolutely ditch them and return to the evolution track. Principal Ma had zero clue about the rival's crazy offer and absolutely loses his mind hearing about that massive bribe. He argues that 3 times the starter gear sounds sick, but it is absolute garbage compared to the late-game stats of a genetically modified fighter. Lin appreciates the heads-up but stays firm, wanting to test drive the pavilion for 6 months before possibly switching up his build later. Realizing the kid is stubborn as a mule, the director knows he is totally wasting his breath and just bails without another word. Fast forward to the very next morning, Lin scrolls through his newsfeed and spots a wild headline, claiming the pavilion brainwashed the region's number 2 student into dropping the genetics track. Obviously, Lin instantly knows the crazy article is talking right about him. The post also drags some past prodigy from Jingdu, who totally fell off the radar after signing with that exact same group. Not only does this fake news paint a massive target on his back for rival factions, but he also got completely doxxed, putting him right in the creepy heretic's crosshairs. He totally bets Director Ma is the salty snitch. He tries doing some quick damage control by reporting the post. Exactly 2 hours later, The stupid thing actually gets nuked. But come on. Everyone knows that whatever hits the internet stays there forever. Plus, the haters are completely relentless, leaking even more of his private info and turning his life into an absolute nightmare. Later that night, Shen Qinghan sneaks into his room for a sleepover. She is super pissed about the massive smear campaign, calling those trolls absolute trash. She flexes that her high-profile master has some major pull and could probably help fix this entire mess. Lin is absolutely not buying it, though, pointing out her master runs the rival genetics faction. Why would she ever lift a single finger to help a pavilion guy out? She stubbornly insists on shooting her shot anyway. Just 30 minutes later, her master texts her saying the whole problem is handled. Shen Qinghan checks her phone and is completely mind-blown, seeing every single post about Lin totally scrubbed from the web. Even Lin is completely shook. It makes absolutely zero sense for the rival vice director to randomly bail him out like that. Shen Qinghan happily promises to pass on a massive thank you to her master for him, yet payback was definitely on her mind too. To show some appreciation, they actually locked lips. Fast forward a bit, Lin Zichen hit level 7, totally maxing out his skin defense. Peeking at his stats, he figured out no other dude his age could even compete. Since taking in the vital energy from 9 unique beasts, the guy basically turned into a sci-fi mutant. He also figured this whole mutation process would completely wreck Shen Qinghan's chances of having kids naturally. Because of that, hitting pause on her fertility by freezing her eggs was her only shot at a future family. Fast forward a couple of days, Shen Qinghan hit up the clinic for the extraction procedure. The doc confirmed her ovulation shots were good to go, telling her to come right back tomorrow to put them on ice. Her bestie Li Zichen tagged along to get the exact same treatment done. Zichen admitted she was low-key freaking out, so she suggested a massive retail therapy trip to chill out, begging Shen Qinghan to join the spree. They tried dragging Lin Zichen along, but he dodged with a totally different agenda. While the girls partied, he stayed locked in his room, leveling up his muscle fibers. Turns out, this step hurt way worse than the surface-level upgrades ever did. Grinding through an entire afternoon of arm strengthening left him absolutely dead. He had to stuff his face just to bounce back. Catching his breath, he realized just boosting that right bicep alone gave his power a massive spike. Upgrading the rest of his physique was basically guaranteed now. Right on cue, Shen Qinghan randomly showed up at his place. She mentioned Liu Qin was organizing a massive squad hangout before school started back up, demanding Linda Chen tag along too. He made it super clear. If she was in, he was definitely down. The catch? The trip was a beach day. She really didn't want to kill the vibe, making it super awkward to just say no. Shen Qinghan was seriously stressed out, mostly because creepy whispers filled her head the last time she hit the ocean. Reliving that nightmare was a hard pass, so the whole seaside idea totally freaked her out. Lin Zichen immediately calmed her down, promising to stick close if things got weird, adding they could honestly just avoid swimming altogether. Miles below the surface, that creepy ogre stepped up to a shrine. He bragged about forcing the rats to carve out 108 passageways, demanding the masked dude drop a tracking beacon right there. Using a staff, the masked creep gouged out a pit and completely drenched the item in his own blood. The monster clarified their next move was just chilling, until Yuandi located the matching border spot to drop a twin beacon. The second those two markers linked up, the underground maze would perfectly sync. Meanwhile, the squad finally piled into the car, with Hugh cruising them straight to the coast. He flexed about grinding through driving school the second break started, offering to hook everyone up with his instructor if they wanted. Obviously, the whole crew was instantly hyped to get their own permits. Hitting the sand, Hugh was basically losing his mind over the insane eye candy everywhere. Totally over it, Li Zichen snapped at him to cool his jets, grabbing her bestie to go swap into their bikinis. Hugh nudged Lin Zichen, saying they needed to gear up too because he was dying to hit the waves. Walking over, some randoms spotted Linda Chen, whispering about how the second-place guy got totally brainwashed by that pavilion cult. Fired up, Hugh clapped back, telling them to shut their mouths instead of trash-talking the region's runner-up. Lin Zichen just brushed it off, telling his buddy to drop the drama and keep walking. Hugh was seriously impressed by how chill he was. Lin Zichen just shrugged, saying it takes a lot to trigger him, though he'd definitely throw down if things actually got dangerous. Catching that, Li Zichen smirked, teasing that he was obviously talking about protecting a certain girl. That's when it clicked for Hugh. His bro was totally simping for Shaning over him. Post-outfit change, Lin Zichen offered to lotion her up, and she actually said yes. He then super carefully rubbed the SPF across her shoulders. Hugh watched them like a total fanboy and tried pulling the same move on Li Zichen, getting instantly rejected. Right then, the creepy ocean whispers hit Shen Qinghan again. Spooked, She shot up from the sand, swearing something out in the water was talking to her. She panicked, explaining the whispers kept dragging on about waking up some ancient deity and bringing up Yundi. Linux realized they were completely flying blind here and seriously needed more clues before jumping to conclusions. He told her to play it cool for a bit and low-key bring the whole supernatural thing up with her master later. A while after that, Lin Zichen completely maxed out his muscle conditioning and instantly shifted to upgrading his skeleton. He found out the hard way, though, that leveling up your bones hurts way worse than fixing up skin or muscles. Even while running on empty, he pushed through the upgrade. With his system pinging the latest stats, Lin Zichen knew he was inches away from a major evolutionary leap. To actually level up, he had to unlock a meridian, but that crusty old manual was basically useless. Looks like he'd be playing a guessing game to make it happen. Fast forward a few days, and he's chilling with Shen Qinghan's family at their favorite childhood hangout spot. She was totally craving a milkshake, so Lin Zichen tagged along to score some ice cream for himself. But then, things got weird. Right across the street at a bar, some dude was literally swarmed by girls. His buddy tried telling him to chill out, but honestly, nobody in that group was even trying to keep it low-key. The whole place had massive glass windows, giving everyone outside a front row seat to the drama. People were whispering about how Hongja plays the total ice queen over in the fine arts department. Yet, the second she got a chance, she was practically throwing herself at the evolution majors. Lin Zichen caught the gossip and just kind of let that sink in for a second. See, their uni was split in two. Arts and humanities kids got the outer ring, while the sweaty evolution and combat majors claimed the inner zone. That inner zone was super exclusive though, completely locked down and totally off limits to regular folks. His mom promised they'd get more freedom once the semester kicked off, but absolutely warned them to dodge the troublemakers. His dad just flexed how long the two had been besties, super confident they'd always have each other's backs no matter what. Since boomers were banned from the inner zone, the parents just waved them off to head in alone. Pulling up to the entrance, security asked for ID. Shen Qinghan swiped hers first and got the green light instantly. But for Lin Zichen, the guard straight up waved him through, recognizing him as the silver medalist who bagged a spot in the Heavenly Man crew. Easy peasy. They walked right in. Inside, you had cyborgs and gene-modded kids just casually roaming around. They breezed through paperwork and started the trek to their dorms. He dropped her off at her building first, since guys and girls were split up, but on the walk to his own place, a mob of girls literally cornered him for his socials. Thank God a senior swooped in to play tour guide. She gave him the grand tour and spilled the tea on the school's power hierarchy. He spotted two distinct leaderboards, an elite tier for 500 veterans, and a fresh meat roster capped at 100. The top 3 names on both lists were absolute beasts, meaning he'd have to grind insanely hard to dethrone them. His guide, Song Yuan, dropped that combat majors sat at rank 6, bonding over the fact she was also a runner-up in her year. The catch? Sticking to the pureblood route made her plateau hard, letting the gene-modded kids totally gap her. They finally hit his dorm building. She joked that top-tier freshmen get spoiled rotten, pointing out his sweet solo room setup. Then, she randomly complains about sweating from the tour and straight up asks to use his shower. He immediately deflects, offering to buy her a cold boba from a spot down the block instead. She takes the hint and accepts the drink as a thank you. Later, he checks his phone and is absolutely floored by his bestie's room pics. His solo setup looked like a closet compared to the insane penthouse vibe she had going on. The evolution major funding was clearly on another level. He snapped a pic of his room back to her, and she immediately teased that her spot could comfortably fit too. She practically dared him to just move in with her, and he said yes without blinking. The gap in dorm quality made it painfully obvious who the school was throwing money at. It really made him question if that boss back at the pavilion could actually triple his stash like promised. He rolls up to her place a bit later. She welcomes him into this perfectly air-conditioned oasis. Looking at the massive space, he joked that her mentor was definitely playing favorites. She smirked, pointing out the best part. 0 parents around to supervise their new roommate situation. Complaining about the heat again, she heads off to shower. Left alone, he starts scrolling through the official campus app to kill time. Turns out, it featured a massive digital market where students could swap campus points for crazy upgrade materials. Grinding for those points meant finishing quests, dominating the leaderboards, or sweeping tournaments. Honestly, that sounded way easier than making real-world cash. Suddenly, she yells from the bathroom, asking him to fetch her fresh clothes. He grabs her stuff and walks over. But she's feeling super bold today and just casually asks if he wants to jump in too. At first, Lin's totally blushing over the invite, but then he figures it'd be crazy to skip out. so he hops right in the tub to back her up. Post-bath, our guy jumps right into phase 2 of his skin-toughening grind. He totally feels the difficulty spike here. Knocking out just his right hand literally took 2 straight hours. So, he hits up Shenning for a sewing needle, saying he's gotta check his new defensive stats. Shenning is totally mind-blown when the needle literally snaps against his skin. She even jokes about trying the pure blood route herself now. Up next, our boy decides to check his fire immunity. He feels the warmth, but 0 burns happen. That's when it hits him how insane this power actually is. Post-testing, his phone buzzes with a text from the pavilion boss, sending a ride so they can meet up face-to-face. Lin gives Shenning a heads up that he's off to see the big boss. Heading out, he decides chilling up in a tree is the best spot to wait for his ride. While hanging there, some random student spots him as the runner-up who picked the Celestial Man crew. Turns out, our guy is pretty famous on campus. The dude totally fanboys, introducing himself and hyping Lin up as a future legend of the pavilion. After a quick convo, the fanboy dips. Soon enough, this badass girl rolls up on a bike looking for him. She drops her name, Song Yoon. Turns out, she's a combat coach and pavilion scientist, dispatched to taxi him to home base. The name clicks instantly. He's literally staring at the campus legend who ditched the evolution track just like him, only to hit a massive wall. They hop on her bike and zoom off toward HQ. Mid-ride, our boy flexes some manners, saying it's a huge honor having such a VIP play chauffeur. While cruising, Song asks why she had to grab him from the evolution dorms instead of his actual assigned room. Lin casually mentions that his girl takes evolution classes, so they're practically roomies right now. The second they pull up, Song gives him the grand tour of their chill zone, complete with endless free snacks and drinks. Walking around, he questions the ghost town vibes. Song admits their club is super low-key with 0 school funding, completely turning off potential recruits. She drops the bomb that other than the 2 of them, the entire roster is just the boss and 3 upperclassmen from the combat major. Hearing that, he seriously wonders if the crowd hyping up the leader on draft day were literally paid actors. Whatever though, he figures he's golden as long as he holds up his end of the bargain. Next up, they find the boss, Liu, looking like a total zombie. He admits to grinding for 6 straight months on Meridian theories with 0 luck. But honestly, he's super hyped that Lin finally joined the squad, betting they'll crack the code soon. Liu points out that Lin and Song share major twin energy and hopes they vibe. He spills that Song's insane research actually helped him hit level 9, soaking up a ton of her knowledge. So basically, he's banking on Lin's future level ups to boost the whole squad. Then he casually drops the big question. Did Lin read the manual over break? Lin nods, and the boss totally hypes him up, offering Song's help to kickstart his body tempering. But Lin casually reveals that he already soloed phase 1 over break, leaving both Liu and Song completely shook. Song literally can't process it. Mastering that skill solo with just a textbook is supposed to be impossible. Like, she struggled with it forever, even with mentors helping out. Even the boss is skeptical and demands a wrist check. Scanning Lin's arm, Liu gasps and frantically asks for his current bio level. Lin calmly replies he's chilling at normal tier, level 5. Liu instantly loses his mind, fanboying over having a literal prodigy in the room, claiming Lin will hit advanced evolution crazy fast. Song is secretly shook, realizing this freshman just completely outclassed her. But then again, she realizes this insane flex could skyrocket their club's reputation. She instantly pitches going viral with Lin's talent to snag crazy sponsorships and flood their applicant pool. But the boss vetoes it immediately, warning that a leak right now is super dangerous and clout chasing would ruin their grind. Plus, he argues true prodigies are about quality over numbers, insisting they dump absolutely every resource they have into leveling up Lin Zichen. Song Yuyan snaps back that they aren't made of money, asking what the game plan is when the bank account hits 0. Liu Anwu totally waves it off, swearing he will pull every string imaginable to keep Lin Zichen and their faction fully stacked. Because of this, he decides Lin Zichen can totally skip the beginner lectures, stepping up as his private coach with S. Yuan playing backup. The boss gives him a heads up about an upcoming kickoff seminar for the newbies. Right after that is a massive placement brawl to crown the newbie king, and with Lin Zichen's current insane stats, the boss is dead sure he will snatch that crown without breaking a sweat. Plus, he bribes him with 10 energy pills and 10 school credits. If he wins, that is literally music to his ears, so he instantly accepts the deal. The big assembly day finally rolls around. Lin Zichen is chilling next to Shen Qinghan when that previous guy pops up, super curious about their whole vibe. He casually explains she is just his childhood bestie, but plot twist, They are actually engaged and tying the knot post-graduation. Cue every single dude in the room practically dying of jealousy. While everyone is losing it, Lin Zichen notices something totally distracting. A literal cat girl. He has absolutely never seen anything like her. Anyway, that nosy dude from earlier suddenly gets called up to the mic. Turns out his name is Lai Moyu, and he is secretly the head honcho of the first years, casually keeping it low-key until now. Stepping up, he totally soaks in the spotlight. He drops the bomb that his big brother is Jingdu's famous prodigy, Li Zichen, a genetically modified absolute beast. Now, as a brand new student, Liu flexes that he is going to dominate every campus record to protect his family's legacy, acting like he is basically untouchable. To prove it, he flexes his aura, making the room so heavy that people start gasping for air, completely mind-blown that a rookie could pull this off. Shen Qinghan just rolls her eyes, whispering that Lai Moyu is acting super extra just because he hit tier 5. But honestly, he is totally clueless that Lai Moyu is nowhere near the ultimate freshman boss. Whatever the case, the MC hypes up the student council president, Zhou Shuhong, to give a quick speech. Grabbing the mic, Zhou Shuhong drops 3 major updates on the crowd. Number 1. The council completely runs campus discipline, not the boring teachers, so everyone better fall in line. Number 2. They handpick 10 insanely strong newbies for the council every semester, and he expects everyone to sweat blood for those elite spots. Number 3. Inside the main grounds, raw power is literally the only rule. Everyone needs to be ready for brutal fights. Before dipping, he promises a sneak peek at what an evolved life form can actually do. Pulling a move just like Lai Moyu, Zhou Hong cranks up the room's gravity. But this time, the crushing aura is completely terrifying. Our main guy instantly picks up on how insanely heavy this high-tier energy really feels. Except, since he is already sitting pretty at rank 9, it feels like an absolute joke to him. Meanwhile, the rest of the crowd is completely traumatized. Moving on, the vice principal jumps on stage to drop the rules for the big newbie test. The setup is super straightforward. It is a massive free-for-all, and the last person standing solo for 60 seconds wins the crown plus a sweet 100 credit payout. The top 10 also get paid, scaling down based on their placement. Plus, literally everyone gets 1 participation point just for showing up. So even losers walk away with a tiny little reward for trying. Out of nowhere, Hugh snatches the mic, totally jump-scaring the crowd. He shouts out his buddy, Lin Zichen, acting like he is a massive campus celebrity. He then loudly announces his mission is to drag his friend into the top 10 by completely wrecking the elite squad. He literally begs the crowd for backup. A bunch of kids already know our hero is cracked, so they figure teaming up is way safer than getting destroyed. After that, Liu Tanwu roasts his rival for being super salty, saying just because Li Yin completely trashed him earlier, he shouldn't be taking it out on the guy's little brother. Ma fires back that if we are talking toxic grudges, the pavilion boss is basically the reigning champion. Lu Chuanwu totally denies it, insisting he only beefs with people who cross him, not their innocent family members. Zhou Hong cuts the drama, casually mentioning how Director Ma's kid absolutely crushed the college entrance exams. Ma brags that she snagged 3rd place in all of Kyoto, totally hyping her up as a guaranteed future council member. Changing topics, Zhou Hong asks who everyone is putting their money on to take the ultimate freshman crown. As the others drop their bets, Liu Chuanwu smirks and locks in his newest faction recruit, Lin Zichen, for the absolute win. Ma Zhenhe totally dismisses the kid, swearing he hasn't even cracked the top 10 this year, and calling out the pavilion boss for flexing over absolutely nothing. So, Lu Chuanwu throws down a 100 credit wager on their top picks. Everyone else totally jumps in, leaving Ma Zhenhe sweating bullets. He only caves because he desperately wants to avoid looking like a massive wimp. But honestly, he is absolutely convinced that Lin Zichen is going to take a huge L in this whole tournament. Right then, the Mech Ma director strolls up, casually bringing up that Lin Zichen used to be one of Director Ma's rookies, teasingly asking if he's feeling salty about it. One quick look at Ma Zhenhe's super sour face, and the guy instantly knows exactly what's up. Anyway, the leader is totally hyped about the 1,000 credit prize pool, ready to brutally gloat once he wins. The trial officially kicks off, and the kids just swarm the battlefield. Meanwhile, our main guy notices that a bunch of these elite snobs only actually made the cut because their bodies can handle gene splicing super well, but the actual heavy hitters are just casually chilling way off to the sidelines. Fronted by Li Moyu and Ma Siwei, that specific squad packs exactly 12 core members. His built-in danger radar goes off, tipping him off that the bosses are rocking tier 5 power, while the rest are totally stuck at tier 4. Down in the pit, bodies are already dropping, and the survivors start trash-talking the elites until one finally jumps down, roasting the newbies for being way too cocky. He flat-out swears he is about to give them a super harsh reality check on what top-tier power actually looks like. The rookies seriously figure they can just jump him in a group, but they quickly get clapped and realize mobbing him is totally useless. The elite dude instantly starts flexing hard, yelling that nobody in that entire room can even remotely touch him. Right on cue, our boy casually strolls into the ring, offering to test his luck. Hearing that, the elite smirks and says Lin Zichen's reputation definitely precedes him. He drops his name as Luki, completely admitting he's been dying to throw hands ever since he snooped on our hero's crazy stats. Game totally on. Our guy shifts into a stance and just instantly punts the dude halfway across the freaking room. The teachers and admins up in the stands are absolutely jaw-dropped by that totally insane, out-of-nowhere flex. Another top-tier wannabe confidently hops into the ring, but just like his buddy, he gets brutally one-shotted into next week. The underdogs are completely losing their minds, watching the big shots get wrecked. Amidst the hype, Masiwei steps up, refusing to let her squad look like total jokes. She basically decides she is going to personally wipe the floor with all these annoying first years. Our guy is actually pretty pumped, totally figuring this is a prime chance to finally study a spliced fighter up close. Masiwei blitzes him with insane agility, which Lin Zichen clocks as Shadow Cat DNA, but he just casually sidesteps, completely catching her off guard. It hits her that she's totally outmatched, and spamming attacks is pointless. She jumps back, begging for a 30-second timeout to go full mutant before round 2. He's super chill about it, and instantly agrees, thrilled to actually witness a full genetic transformation happen in real time. Since she's literally the boss's kid, Majinhei's co-workers start totally glazing him up over how insanely gifted she is. But inside, Majinhei is low-key panicking because her procedure was super recent, and going all out like this could seriously wreck her body. Still, he knows deep down there's absolutely no stopping her since she honestly hates losing more than anything else. Meanwhile, Masiwei is absolutely fuming, totally convinced this dude is insanely cocky for actually giving her time to power up. Thinking he's seriously underestimating her, she practically screams that he is going to deeply regret acting so smug. Even so, our guy just weaves effortlessly, realizing that if their levels matched, things would be rough. But rocking tier 9 stats, a weaker opponent literally cannot touch him. Masiwei is absolutely mind-blown, totally realizing that even while going completely full beast mode, she cannot even graze him. She cranks her speed to the absolute max, but it is totally useless, driving her absolutely crazy. Having seen enough of her flashy tricks, our guy decides that playtime is officially 100% over. He drops the mighty Masiwei with just one super clean punch, completely shocking the entire crowd. Freaking out, her dad instantly sprints straight into the arena. Raging hard, he screams at Lin Zichen, angrily asking what kind of psycho decks a girl that insanely hard. Our boy claps back that evolution does not care about gender, you are either top dog or trash. Lai Moyu actually backs him up on this and steps up as his next challenger. He is basically the final boss for the elite squad, and totally knows he absolutely cannot drop the ball here. Lai Moyu calls our guy out for totally smurfing, guessing he definitely sandbagged his real stats during the entrance trials. But plot twist, he brags that Lin Zichen isn't the only one playing games, revealing he has been hiding his real power level too before finally transforming. He is literally spliced with giant demonic ape DNA, and is getting ready to go absolutely feral for this insane showdown. Watching this massive monster, the pavilion boss basically kisses his wager goodbye, fully believing Lin Zichen is about to get brutally folded. Meanwhile, way off-site, some super shady syndicate drops a brand new assignment right onto Liu Gang's lap. A sketchy voice on the comms tells him they just stashed a top-tier demon seed near the campus, and his main job is to literally trick Lai Moyu into eating it. The guy hyped up the syndicate's insane reach, basically saying the Kyoto Lee family was total trash compared to them. That totally backed Wang Shujie and his buddy into a corner. Backing out of this gig just wasn't an option anymore. They hated the whole vibe, but their hands were completely tied. Cutting back to the brawl, our guy knew these massive apes packed insane attack power, but totally lacked speed, though sleeping on them was still a terrible idea. The other dudes started talking heavy trash, flexing that Lin Zichen's power levels were an absolute joke compared to his own. Skipping the chit-chat, our hero launched a savage strike, only to get a reality check when the guy actually dodged a tier 6 level punch with decent reflexes. Not backing down, Lin Zichen cranked his stats up to tier 7, finally managing to land a solid, satisfying hit on the dude. But Liu Yu just tanked the whole thing, proving his armor was just as ridiculously overpowered as his brute force. Visibly ticked off, the big guy claimed that was merely a warm-up and promised to actually unleash his full potential now. Our guy rushed in for round 2 with way better speed, yet his hits honestly felt like tossing pebbles at a brick wall. Liu Yu might have moved like molasses, but his crazy durability made him a legit threat. Dodging his strikes, Lin Zichen scanned his moves and totally figured out the winning cheat code. Meanwhile, Liu Yu kept running his mouth, mocking the hero for being a fragile speedster who was totally doomed to fail. The tank finally lunged forward for a crushing blow, but our guy literally just stood there like a statue instead of dodging. Seeing that, all the haters who dumped their cash on Liu Yu immediately started hyping up an early win. But the second that fist connected, Liu Yu shrieked in absolute agony. He literally shattered his own arm from the impact, leaving the whole crowd totally shook. Lin Zichen smirked, realizing the dude basically played himself. Getting way too desperate for the knockout just made his own body snap under the pressure. He loudly called out that Mo Yu's right hand was completely busted, yelling for the medical crew to come scrape him off the floor. Surprisingly, the vice director stepped up instead. Totally fascinated by the clash, Yuan Dongji wanted to personally inspect the damage. After confirming the nasty bone break, her mind was completely blown trying to figure out how ridiculously tough Lin Zichen's physical defenses actually were. She desperately tried to scan his stats, but our hero cleverly activated a stealth perk to keep his true overpowered nature totally hidden. Heading back to the elite squad, Yuan Dongji claimed the kid was merely rocking tier 6 power and insisted he seemed completely average. Hearing that, our guy internally cheered, knowing his sneaky little bluff worked flawlessly. Thanks to some rapid healing, Mo Yu recovered super fast from the break, prompting Lin Zichen to casually suggest he bounce out of the ring now. Boiling with rage over the epic fail, Liu Yu swore he'd totally wreck him the second his gene fusion hit the next level. Barely 60 seconds later, our guy was officially crowned the undisputed champ of the match. The regular student section absolutely lost their minds, hyping up the fact that a total underdog just publicly humiliated a top-tier snob. Right after, our hero grabbed Shen Qinghan and confidently walked her straight into the absolute dead center of the stage. Flexing super hard, he loudly claimed every single rank from 1st down to 10th, straight up demanding all the loot that came with it. A bunch of salty elites totally lost their cool and rushed him, screaming that hogging the entire leaderboard was complete garbage. Even Mei jumped into the chaos, targeting Shen Qinghan and dragging her as a massive backstabber for teaming up with him. But Lin Zichen fiercely shielded his girl, effortlessly trashing every single person brave enough to step up. Knowing he had just terrified everyone into submission, he locked down the #1 spot, while Shen Qinghan snatched second simply by chilling next to him. Regarding the leftover ranks, Linich boldly announced he was personally handing them out like an absolute boss. Naturally, he hooked his squad up first, getting Li Chukan in, and making sure Hugh secured a sweet spot too. Majinhe was practically throwing a tantrum, crying about rule breaking, and begging the vice director to intervene, but the pavilion leader casually shut him down, confirming no rules were actually broken, and basically calling Majinhe a massive crybaby. Yuan Dongji openly acknowledged the crazy loophole, though promised to patch that glitch in next year's tournament. For the moment, he let Lin Zichen run the show however he wanted. Simultaneously, Liu Gang's device buzzed with a super sketchy update, altering their whole mission. The crosshairs were now locked onto Lin Zichen. They needed to force-feed him the serum and drag him into their shady syndicate. Once the trials wrapped up, the pavilion boss cornered our hero, totally gushing over how the kid constantly blew his mind. Not skipping a beat, our guy hit him with a quick reminder to actually cough up what they agreed on. Honoring the deal, Lu Chuanwu tossed him the stash and revealed he just wired triple the original cash and perks for an epic shopping spree. Dying of curiosity, Lu Chuanwu totally had to ask exactly how much raw power the kid had been keeping off the radar. Lin Zichen dropped the bomb that he hadn't just buffed his skin, but fully upgraded his muscles and skeleton too, leaving the boss completely stunned. Suddenly, everything clicked for Lu Chuanwu. Realizing why the kid dominated so hard, he predicted this guy was about to pave the way for something legendary. Chilling at his place, our guy checked out his prize stash and popped a pill to see what the hype was about. Swallowing just a single drop boosted his energy by 108 points, though honestly, it felt pretty underwhelming. He figured a quick morning jog would give identical gains, so he realized these boosters would definitely help Shen Qinghan way more. Speak of the devil, she just walked into the dorms. He tossed her a capsule and asked what she thought of it. Recognizing the crimson medicine, she swallowed it down. Instantly, a warm rush hit her, massively leveling up her internal energy. Seeing how insanely well it worked for her, Lin just handed over the entire stash, warning her to stick to just one daily. By morning, our boy headed straight over to the main guild hall. Su Yuyan caught him right at the door, totally buzzing about the crazy rumors going around about him lately. She confessed she was skeptical earlier, but now, total believer. Lin was absolutely a prodigy, and the whole world was about to lose its mind. Later on, he realized his older peers were grinding non-stop but hitting a massive wall, clueless about how to actually clear their internal pathways. Looks like he was totally on his own to crack this code, though with his insane divine wisdom stats, pulling it off should honestly be a total breeze. Song Yuan strolled up, dropping the news that the campus board was hunting him down with an exclusive invite. Lin instantly passed on it, but the upperclassman pointed out the sweet monthly credit allowance those officers actually score. Stepping out, he bumped into Qiao Shuhong, who practically begged Lin to run for president, promising full VIP training if he said yes. The guy wouldn't stop hyping up all the insane perks. Beyond calling the shots around campus, Lin would be totally cashing in with a massive monthly allowance. But of course, there was one major catch attached to the deal. He had to ditch the whole pureblood route entirely and completely commit to mutating his DNA. The board blacklisted anyone dodging modification, basically because purebloods totally ruined their futuristic brand aesthetic. Hearing that, our guy hard passed. None of their shiny bribes even came close to the insane loot his current faction threw his way. The elite squad convinced themselves Lin was completely brainwashed. Why else would anyone reject such a massive flex? Dealing with his stubbornness, the head honcho seriously started doubting if this kid was actually the hardcore prodigy everyone hyped him up to be. Spilling the tea later, his upperclassmen completely lost her mind over their pathetic attempt to buy him out. Then the faction boss dragged himself in, looking completely wrecked. Song Yuan joked the poor guy practically sold his soul out all night just securing funding for their crew. A few minutes later, Liu Chuanwu rolled up, warning our boy that dating is a total trap for power leveling, literally draining the life out of guys, and told him to dodge romance completely. He also dropped that the school hooks up top-tier students with family mansions, meaning Lin's folks could move in. The kid casually mentioned he was catching up with his parents this weekend anyway. Having already pitched the whole moving idea to them, the manager unlocked the quest board for him too, letting him farm tasks for credits to absolutely max out his stats. Song Yuan casually brought up that she grinds out bounties weekly, inviting him to tag along just to get a solid feel for the whole hustle. He was totally down for it and started scrolling through the open gigs. Most tasks were complete garbage with zero payoff, and the decent ones required insane travel time. But digging deeper, one epic quest finally caught his eye. Su Yuyan practically choked seeing him lock in the feline mutant bounty, immediately offering to back him up. She pointed out the board was totally public. Looking closer, he realized the 28-player raid party literally only had 2 slots open. He spotted Ma Shiwei on the roster too, rolling his eyes at how she was totally pushing her luck trying to punch above her weight class. Whatever, the guy was starving. Heading out to grab some takeout, he sensed a level 7 stalker trailing him. The creep suddenly jumped in front of him, getting super aggressive about why Ma Shiwei got decked earlier. The dude completely threw all the blame on Lin, aggressively demanding a one-on-one showdown right there. Not even stressed, Lin just asked, who sent him? The guy tried flexing, claiming he was defending the girl's rep entirely solo. Lin totally zoned him out, refusing to waste his energy on such a pathetic simp. When the loser tried stepping up, our boy literally swept the floor with him in seconds and just kept walking. Showing up at his girl's place later, Shen Qinghan dropped the news. That massive 5-kilogram order of zombie bug protein had finally dropped, safely stashed in her fridge. Lin Zichen totally wanted to cop enough meat to absorb 100% of its core power, but avoiding sketchy vibes meant he only grabbed 5 kilograms. But honestly, that stash still let him soak up 10%. Later, Shen Qinghan was super confused about why he was just tossing the scrap. Our guy dropped a bomb. He actually drains beast energy straight from their meat, leaving his recent grocery haul completely rotten. Everything clicked for her then. She pointed out how an insane ability like that meant skipping the whole genetic mutation process entirely. Flipping the script, Linda Shawn mentioned the head honcho greenlit moving their parents onto campus, which she thought was an absolute win. She also hyped up an upcoming elite leaderboard clash, begging him to tag along since rumors claimed a cyborg was throwing hands with a mutant. They hit up the gym, finding the place packed with not just the usual school crowd, but suits from the Mana God faction too. Our main dude spotted that viral TV cyborg, realizing the Mana God crew must be dumping massive cash into the gene mod program. Shen Qinghan wondered out loud who would take the crown, the capital city's top talent, or this tech. Boosted whiz kid. Lin casually predicted that if the evolution major clapped his opponent today, the capital genius definitely had the upper hand. If not, the metal-plated kid would easily sweep the board. The highly anticipated showdown between the evolution class and the Gene Mod squad finally kicked off. Flexing his built-in tech, the machine boy unleashed a massive rocket barrage that completely stun-locked the mutant. Catching him lacking, the half-robot dude dashed in for some melee action and literally one-shot his rival into the floor. It was a total flawless victory, with 0 scratches taken. Fast forward a bit, an aide tipped off Yuan Dongji that Zone 36 over in Yandi was being suspiciously dead lately, with 0 explanation. She also gossiped about back leveling up at crazy speeds, basically hitting high tier 2 already, and joked the girl felt too overpowered to be human, while questioning her backstory. Wen Dongji instantly shut that down, snapping at her to mind her own business and get back to the grind. Switching gears, Yuan Dongji focused on the mutant cyborg brawl, acknowledging the tech team's massive upper hand. But she knew it was a fake flex, since all those fancy robot parts turn into expensive paperweights inside the tech-jamming Yandi zone. Meanwhile, our boy and Shen Qinghan chilled with their folks over the weekend, smooth-talking them into moving in together. With the family drama sorted, Lin Zichen locked onto his next big objective, tracking down Catwoman. He rolled straight into the neon-lit nightlife district, her absolute favorite spot to stalk prey. Since this rogue was a master of fake identities and loved drugging her targets, he sparked up his magic vision and threat radar to scope things out, which accidentally caught some totally wrong eyes. Some beefy dude stepped up wanting beef over being stared at, but Lin Zichen just blasted him back with pure aura. Turning up totally empty-handed there, he bounced to check out another block. No sign of the target, but he bumped into an old frenemy, Ma, flanked by 2 Tier 7 upperclassmen. They were visibly hunting the exact same bounty. Moe was visibly salty about bumping into Lin Zichen, immediately barking at her squad to steer clear of his vibe. While backing off, she stressed that he was trying to snipe their quest, and they desperately needed to bag the target before him. One of her teammates, rocking some literal Helldog DNA, flexed his insane nose skills as a cheat code. Minutes later, the guy caught a massive whiff of their cat-like target drifting from a local pub. The trio sprinted over, with the sniffer signaling an average-looking girl, though Mashiwi totally wasn't buying it. The hound guy swore his nose was flawless and insisted the random chick was definitely their disguised bounty. Fully hyped, they dived in for the grab, but she exploded through a literal window, kicking off a wild parkour chase downtown. Rocking insane speed, the feline rogue easily blasted ahead of the pack, but the dog kid kept riding her scent trail right into a sketchy dead end, cockily announcing game over. Shockingly, the girl smirked and dropped a massive truth bomb. If she actually wanted to vanish, they would have eaten her dust. The whole running away routine, just a massive bait to drag them into her kill zone. Having completely trapped her hunters, the villain blasted an insanely heavy mutant aura that totally suffocated the squad, shape-shifting into her badass true form to prove she had been sandbagging. Panicking, Mashiwi screamed at her team to bail, realizing they were horribly out-leveled, but the feline brawler wasn't having it, instantly blocking the exit and promising nobody was walking away. She looks right at the dog dude and admits she's been totally checking him out since he walked into the club. Mashiwi isn't having it. She drops a smoke bomb, warning the crew that it'll blind their enemies so they can make a quick getaway. Once they're totally clear of the chaos, her squad starts whining about how this assignment is way too intense. They basically beg her to pull some strings, reminding her that her dad literally runs the show. She whips out her phone to call her old man but suddenly panics, realizing Lin Zichen is out here too and desperately needs a heads up. Without his contact info, she hits up Shen Qinghan instead. Cut to our feline villain, who is super salty about losing her targets. Suddenly, a new guy strolls up. She immediately checks him out, deciding this absolute hottie will be the perfect replacement snack. Smirking, she assumes he'll be a total pushover, but our boy Lin Zichen is literally just here for blood and drops right into a fighting stance. The second he dashes forward, she completely freaks out because his speed is actually blowing hers out of the water. Unable to dodge, she takes a massive hit that sends her flying. Our guy realizes he only went at 50%, yet it totally wrecked her face. Shocked, she questions how some random teenager could brutally overpower her without a single genetic upgrade. Realizing she's about to get dusted, she decides making a run for it is her only survival option. To her absolute horror, he easily matches her getaway pace. He smirks, deciding it is the perfect moment to go all out at 100%. Amazingly, the villain manages to survive another devastating blow. Not wanting to drag things out, he decides to finish her off fast, But then, he senses her life force totally spiking. He figures out she triggered a near-death blood awakening, putting her just a hair away from mutating into a crazy advanced being. Absolutely livid, she demands to know his identity. In the most sarcastic twist ever, he literally just apologizes for jumping her. She realizes she had to tap into her ultimate power just to breathe, terrified by how wild and chaotic this dude actually is. Opting out of this death trap, she chooses to fall back and heal up, but mid-escape, a weird sound echoes, and a random chunk of metal smashes right into her from out of nowhere. Yep, our boy sniped her. There was zero chance he was quitting before crossing this assignment off his list. A few more brutal strikes later, he senses that her aura has totally vanished. Target eliminated. To secure the bag, he snaps a quick pic and uploads it straight to the school portal. He also rings up the campus guards so they can come mop up the absolute wreckage left behind. While waiting, he drains her energy, shocked to discover she still held 36% of her life force despite being crushed. Cut to another spot, Mishiwi is on the phone screaming at her dad about almost dying, dropping the bomb that their level 6 target was actually a massive level 9. Her dad begs for the full rundown so he can drag whoever messed up this intel. Hanging up, she tells the squad they need to sprint back to the dorms before that psycho tracks them down. Her bestie chills her out, showing that Lin Zichen already secured the kill. Masiwi is absolutely baffled that a rookie soloed such a beast. Anyway, the weekend wraps up, and our hero heads back to school with his girl. His phone buzzes with an alert showing his hard-earned bounty finally dropped, but the payout is incredibly fat. A note pops up saying he scored a huge bonus because the school totally botched the threat level. Realizing the academy's intel is utter trash, he makes a mental note to watch his own back from now on. He also promises to figure out how to bring Shen Qinghan along on his next run, which totally makes her day. Meanwhile, he's planning to blow his new cash on extra zombie worm meat to max out his stats. But then it hits him going forward. He needs to look out for his girl's leveling journey too. So, he casually asks what kind of monster cuts she's craving. After a quick search, she suggests some tyrant eagle. It's super cheap but packs top-tier nutrients. He's totally down to pay, but she insists on covering the bill herself since she's still sitting on some credits. Our guy just chuckles, thinking that splitting bills is way too formal, now that they're basically living together. Right in the middle of dinner, there's a knock. He opens up to find their bizarre grocery order already here. Hyped by the crazy fast shipping, he tosses the bird in the fridge and instantly starts soaking up the worm's power. Boom, he hits 100% integration and realizes this gross creature's healing factor is seriously overpowered. Too excited to wait, he slices his own palm just to watch the magic happen. And in literally seconds, the cut sealed right up. Thanks to this slick new perk, our guy realized minor scrapes wouldn't even be a blip on his radar anymore. Another knock echoed through the room. Super weird, considering he definitely wasn't expecting any more packages today. He swung his dorm door open and totally froze. Mashiwai was standing there, saying sorry for the late-night visit but insisting they really needed to talk. Lin Zichen just asked what brought her by. Mashi admitted she was dying to know how he pulled off that Catwoman quest and exactly how he took her down. Linich brushed it off as super messy, offering her tea to chat about literally anything else. But Masiwi was only obsessing over the quest details. When he wouldn't spill, she just bounced. A bit later, Lin Zichen's girlfriend dropped the bomb that Mawei actually called her up earlier, totally freaking out about how risky the assignment was and stressing over his safety, which basically proved she wasn't toxic after all. Later on, the club head mentioned how the messed up intel on that Catwoman gig had the whole campus gossiping. So, he realized Lin Zichen totally crushed the assignment despite the crazy tough opponent and begged to know his secret. Our guy shrugged it off as business as usual, claiming he just used basic combat moves to take the target out. Lin Zichen totally got why they were skeptical, since he'd been masking his actual level and keeping everyone in the dark about his real stats. Figuring it was time to let his squad in on the secret, he casually dropped that he was actually at tier 9. Plus, he confessed he'd already cleared the initial physical conditioning phase and was currently grinding through the second level, focusing on dermal strengthening. Hearing this totally got the club boss emotional, hyping him up about how all that non-stop grinding was finally showing results. He promised that once the moment was totally perfect, he'd flex their group's insane progress to everyone, blowing the entire campus away. The boss added that Lin Zichen's skills were so insanely cracked, if he actually possessed origin energy, he'd swear the dude was a literal inhuman straight out of Yuandi. Since the whole inhuman concept was totally new to him, Lin Zichen demanded the full scoop. Liwan Wu broke down how inhumans are real, kinda like the mutated monsters, except they mostly chill in Yuandi and rarely pop up on Earth. Even Su Yan's jaw dropped since her mentor kept her totally out of the loop. The group head jumped in, explaining that origin energy is this exclusive vibe only Yuandi natives have, basically acting like a flexed-up mana or life force. But honestly, he'd only crossed paths with 2 of them ever, so his own knowledge base was super limited. Lin Zichen wondered out loud if there were any crazy requirements to actually visit Yuandi. The boss replied that hitting advanced level tier 1 was the absolute baseline entry ticket, which totally explained why he'd never made the trip himself, only bumping into those inhumans right here on Earth. He reminisced about meeting one of them 10 years back, some apprentice of his ex-wife, though he barely knew a thing about the girl. Luan Wu stumbled onto the second one inside this creepy ancient dungeon, the exact same spot they scored that vitality forging technique, but he made it super clear that this intel was strictly classified, warning his 2 pupils to keep their mouths completely shut. Plus, Lu Chuan Wu warned Lin Zichen to keep playing it low-key since trust is basically non-existent here. He threw in that if he ever tackled crazier quests, tagging Seong Yu Yen along was a smart move, because no matter how overpowered you are, having backup is always a vibe. Lin Zichen appreciated the heads-up and checked if the boss had any files or lore on Yuandi he could dive into. The head honcho admitted that Yuandi lore was top secret, meaning he was pretty clueless himself. Still, he hyped Lin Zichen up, mentioning he was super close to hitting that advanced life stage and could probably solo travel to Yuandi real soon. But he dropped a huge warning. The monsters over there are insanely overpowered and have been plotting to crash our planet for ages. Rumor has it they're thirsting after some crazy powerful artifact hidden here, though nobody has a clue what it actually is. Right on cue, Luan Wu's phone started buzzing. After taking the call, he dipped, claiming an old crush wanted to grab food. Song Yuan just laughed, joking that the boss was out there hustling to bag fresh sponsors for their squad. Flipping the script, she grilled Lineage on his insane stealth skills, wondering how he managed to ghost even the school's top admins. He flat out refused to drop that lore, which honestly just made So Yan crave the truth even more. She literally offered to swap secrets, promising to answer absolutely anything if he just spilled. But Lin Zichen stood his ground, leaving his squadmate totally annoyed and empty-handed. Since he wouldn't talk, she challenged him to a spar, pointing out they were both rocking that standard tier 9 status anyway. Lin Zichen was totally down for it, figuring a clash with someone on his exact wavelength was the perfect way to test his own kit. Song Yuan pointed out their stats were pretty matched, though her conditioning was a bit more advanced, giving her better tankiness. Stepping up, So Yan totally let Lin Zichen take the first swing. He geared up for the strike, totally flexing his new power level to the older girl. Even with her crazy tough defenses, Song Yuan knew another hit would actually leave a mark. She totally realized he'd be leaving her in the dust soon, but there was no way she was taking an L today. She had to keep up that boss energy. So, she brushed off his kick as sloppy, telling our guy to land his hits dead center the second he sees a gap. She basically told him he should have gone for a knockout blow, because now it was her turn to strike back, and she wasn't holding back anymore. They rushed each other, dropping right into a super wild, high-speed brawl. While Lin Zichen was chilling, Song Yuyan was going absolutely all out. Still, she knew she was losing ground fast and needed to wrap this up before she totally gassed out. Seeing the older girl going try-hard mode, our boy just took the hit and totally faked losing. Post-match, Song Yuyan admitted the dude had crazy potential, especially since it took 90% of her power to drop him. Honestly, she low-key stressed that within 12 months, even her max stats wouldn't be enough to win. She even hyped him up, saying his current stats meant he could totally start unlocking his energy pathways. Plus, she was totally down to share all her personal secrets on how it works. Getting settled in, she explained we have 366 energy nodes overall, but the chest ones are the absolute easiest to crack. Her main tip? The second he vibes with those 4 chest points, he needs to blast them with energy 10 times a second. Lin totally fumbled the attempt. Song Yuan just told him to chill out and review the basics before giving it another shot. Cut to the pavilion boss, Lu Chuan Wu, lurking down in the Lu family's underground hideout. He updated his boss, bragging that he finally tracked down their missing target, some kid who could literally smash every pureblood limit. Eventually, the boss could steal his energy to bust out of that creepy bronze coffin, but the master completely left him on red. Lu noticed the place's vibe was super weak and realized Lin Zichen better level up fast before his master actually kicked the bucket. Flipping back to Lin, he walked through his front door, right into his girlfriend, Shen Qinghan. She dropped the bomb that her mentor was rushing her DNA merge, picking a deep blue jellyfish as her perfect match. Lin knew that even if it was just a starter tier mob, this thing had crazy upgrade potential and sick water stats. Honestly, he was totally on board with it. Shen Qinghan was super paranoid though. Stressing her frail stats would make the whole process crash and burn. Lin just hyped her up, pointing out those mutated genes cost a fortune, and her mentor was practically dropping bags of cash on her. He told her to stop overthinking, since her match rate was so high that failing was basically impossible. Plus, she'd already done the egg freezing prep work, so she really just needed to let her mentor cook. Also, he threw in that these DNA upgrades usually give you a massive glow up anyway. Hearing all that sweet talk actually gave her a major confidence boost. She pulled up a clip of the beast online, thought it looked aesthetic AF, and started hoping she'd snatch those visuals too. Lin just smoothly replied that she was already gorgeous, so looking bad wasn't even physically possible for her. Blushing hard, she admitted her crazy mentor actually filmed that footage by free diving straight into the ocean. That made her wonder out loud if she'd ever reach those insane power levels herself. Lin instantly promised he'd literally do whatever it takes to help her secure the bag and become legendary. She swore she'd grind hard just to make it up to him. The following morning, she hit the campus while Lin chilled at home to grind his stats. Scrolling his feed, he saw sketchy new plants popping up downtown, with plant nerds completely locking down the zones for research. Still, Lin instantly realized those weeds were basically identical to the pic his girlfriend's mentor dropped in their chat. This practically confirmed they spawned from Yuandi, making him wonder if the sketchy cult hiding those mutant rats was involved. Regardless, he needed to buff up to fight the bad guys, so dropping cash on booster meds seemed like the fastest hack. Swiping through the college marketplace, he spotted some super cheap but top-tier healing meds and just bulk ordered 100 of them. On top of that, bro felt ready to absorb his next creature and started browsing for the absolute perfect match. Scrolling the shop, Lin stumbled on some toxic mongoose flesh, knowing full well the animal's name was completely clickbait and totally non-lethal. They called it that since it snacked on poisonous critters, meaning the mongoose literally bathed in toxins 24/7. Lin Zichen figured that absorbing this animal's epic power would grant him total poison immunity, so he'd never have to stress about getting poisoned ever again. His last Meridian breakthrough totally flopped, so our guy decided to just grind his physical stats for a bit longer. Barely 60 minutes into his workout, his chi levels were totally tanking, forcing him to take a massive breather. He definitely needed some snacks to bounce back. Soon enough, the campus courier finally knocked on his door. Opening the door, Lin nearly wiped out since his muscles were literally screaming from that brutal workout session. Still, he somehow caught the package. Right after, he popped a single pill just to see if it actually worked. It hit super fast. He got a tiny migraine, but suddenly his entire body felt 100% refreshed. Next up was devouring that premium mongoose meat, which instantly unlocked 1% of the beast's awesome skill. Thanks to his brand new stash, the cooldown timer for restoring his drained chi dropped massively. Honestly, dumping all his campus points into these epic power-ups was turning out to be a massive win. Later on, Shen Qinghan brought a guest over. Lin spotted Chu Shen and joked that it had been ages. She totally gushed about how cute it was that they were finally living together. Meanwhile, she was tragically stuck squished inside a super tiny dorm room with another girl. Lin offered up their empty guest room, but she passed, saying she actually liked the company and couldn't ditch her roomie. Honestly, she just came over to aggressively rant about how the older students were acting totally unhinged lately. Top tiers like them had it super easy since nobody messed with them, but average students were totally getting wrecked. Chu Shen spilled that a senior did a fake room check, swiped her favorite makeup, and casually ghosted them. This kind of toxic stuff happened all the time. And if anyone actually tried to snitch, admin just pulled the whole survival of the fittest card and basically told the weak ones to drop out immediately. Being besties, the duo instantly offered to back her up, but suddenly, a massive earthquake totally ruined the vibe. Even without any obvious red flags, Lin's spider sense was going crazy. Meanwhile, miles and miles away, some sketchy cult follower told his boss he desperately wanted a major glow-up, begging for rare evolution gear. The big boss totally agreed since the guy had been putting in some serious work lately, offering him a seriously spicy magic flower, while warning him to definitely bring a date before actually using it. The minion hyped him up, spilling details about a prodigy freshman he planned to infect and literally hijack. But the boss could not care less, claiming the only true overpowered kids were currently over in Yuandi. Right then, a scout reported a crazy glitch over in Yuandi and needed the boss to hack the portal. He literally instantly dipped out to check the location. The sidekick figured if Yuandi elites were totally locked down, he would just have to snatch an Earth kid instead. He aggressively barked at his own minion to get the entire mission done in 3 days max. Back on campus, Lin and his girl were chilling when Lu Gang and Wang Shuji rolled up begging for a favor. Wang complained about a totally toxic upperclassman who bullied them non-stop, and they desperately needed someone to humble him. Lu Gang actually tried bribing them with a massive stash of magic fruits and some random power-up pills. Lin asked if this bully was actually a threat, and they nervously admitted he was rocking level 6 stats. Our guy casually pocketed the loot, accepted the quest, and told them to simply link up later for the beatdown. They hyped him up and quickly bounced. Shen Qinghan was super stoked, mentioning she had never even tasted magic fruit. Ready for a taste test, Shen suddenly noticed the snacks looked totally sketchy and gross. Lin peeked closer, and his alarm bells immediately started screaming. His cheat system instantly flashed these were literal tree demon seeds. Lin immediately dashed right after those two sketchy dudes. He also yelled at his girlfriend to dial up her master as soon as possible. Yuan Dongji pulled up in seconds, demanding the tea. Lin laid it out those guys dropped a bag of evil seeds, and this totally had crazy plant cult vibes written all over it. The VP dropped a bombshell. That weird seed came from a mutant tree, and eating it basically turns you into its mind-controlled puppet. That made Lin wonder out loud if those two guys were under its spell too. Either way, Yuan Dongji promised to drag them in for an interrogation and spill the details later. She told them to watch their backs, since these crazy cults were lurking everywhere. Honestly, Shen Qinghan was just totally awestruck by her mentor's crazy strength. Plus, those dudes were total fakes, acting all helpless just to stab them in the back. Lin totally agreed. From here on out, they had to be super paranoid, exactly like the VP said. The next day, the verdict dropped. Some cultist had been pulling their strings. Both guys got totally wrecked and kicked out of school. On the bright side, their parents finally showed up to crash at their place. Thanks to those booster meds he snagged, Shen Qinghan hit 40% on her second physical leveling stage. Soon enough, it was time for her big genetic mashup. The VP broke it down, explaining this freak jellyfish was totally water-based. Because of that, she had to chug an insane amount of water just to make the whole process stick. After gulping down liquids until she felt like bursting, her mentor finally gave the green light to start. She whipped out a needle, packed with that mutant sea creature's DNA. It had to go straight to the heart, but painkillers would numb the initial poke. The catch? Once those wore off, the DNA shift was going to hurt like crazy. Lin just stood off to the side, watching the whole intense operation go down. Normally, a surgery this wild would need a whole room full of high-tech gear, but the VP was such a total boss, she didn't even need any of that fancy stuff. Post-shot, her mentor warned that the brutal agony was incoming, but 10 minutes rolled by, and the girl literally felt zero pain. She started stressing that it totally flopped, and honestly, even her mentor looked clueless. The VP was completely baffled as to why the upgrade wasn't kicking in at all. After a quick scan, she figured out that while the DNA didn't fully blend, the whole thing wasn't exactly a bust either. Usually, massive pain means it worked flawlessly, assuming the body didn't reject it. Weirdly enough, her system didn't fight the new cells, but it didn't react to them either. Totally lost, our guy jumped in and asked what the heck that actually meant. Turns out, her mentor felt something crazy. Shen Qinghan's own DNA basically woke up and bullied the jellyfish cells like a hyped-up immune system. It was such a bizarre flex that even the super experienced VP was totally mind-blown. Right on cue, the girl suddenly realized her hair was literally shifting colors. Her mentor pointed out that color swaps only happen when you level up successfully. A fail wouldn't trigger that. She hyped up, saying she could feel this fresh, weird energy pulsing inside her that she could totally boss around. Hooked by the plot twist, the VP ran another deep scan. Guessing she overlooked a detail, she told her student to try putting this wild new vibe to sleep. The girl focused hard on her mentor's tips, leaving the VP absolutely speechless. Top-tier prodigies usually needed 15 whole days to pull that off, but she literally nailed it in seconds. Low-key panicking, Lin demanded to know what was going on. Her master hit them with the classic good news, bad news line. The downside? She'd probably never merge with monster DNA properly. But honestly, she didn't even have to. Her mentor dropped the truth bomb. The girl was actually way more overpowered than any engineered mutant out there. Her base DNA was so dominant, it just hijacked whatever they injected. Basically, she got to steal all the monster's sick powers without turning into a freak herself. That kept her 100% human, making her the absolute first of her kind. Because of this glitch, she could be the only person ever to hit peak evolution while staying totally normal. Lin just smirked to himself. If only the VP knew he had the exact same cheat code. The girl realized she could basically leech monster traits without mutating, though she still needed their physical cells to snatch the buffs. Her mentor told her to take this secret to the grave, even from her parents, and swore that, as her coach, they'd figure out how broken this power really was together. Fast forward 15 days later, chilling at home, she excitedly yelled for Lin, hyping up that she could finally bend water with her mind. Lin admitted his girl's crazy new skills were totally blowing his mind lately. Turns out, she'd figured out blood manipulation, a wicked trick to instantly paralyze anyone stepping to her. Our guy instantly clicked the puzzle pieces together. If she could puppet others, she could tweak her own bloodstream to level up her physical stats just like he did. But Shen Qinghan totally shot the idea down, bringing up her master's harsh critique. Apparently, her physical stats and smarts just weren't cutting it for the pure blood route. Lin wasn't having it, though, hyping her up and reminding her they were both built different. He convinced her that they were an absolute powerhouse together and begged her to just give it a shot. That pep talk was all she needed to shake off the doubts and test out her boyfriend's wild theory. After our boy walked her through the whole body tempering grind, she completely nailed the technique in no time. Lin honestly couldn't believe it. She picked up the whole routine way faster than he ever did. The craziest part? She was only sitting at tier 2, meaning her growth ceiling was absolutely massive. Shen hyped him right back, realizing that she could snag monster abilities without any messy gene splicing, making them the ultimate dream team. Fast forward a few days, and she completely maxed out her skin defense, officially ranking up to tier 3. Our MC knew he had to drag her into a real fight soon just to see how tanky she actually was now. Scrolling through the Campus Quest app, a shiny new bounty popped up, literally the perfect excuse for a field test. Cutting to the local police precinct, a cop brought in our favorite teen duo, who had volunteered to help with the raid. The whole squad was seriously buzzing when these two legendary rookies walked through the door. Captain Fang kept flexing about his stepson, another campus freshman who managed to sneak his way into the elite class. The captain was super bummed that Lin brushed off the traditional evolution route, secretly hoping the kid would snap out of it and ditch his current faction. Anyway, Fang casually dropped that he pulled strings to get his stepkid on this raid, forcing him to tag along with our duo. Right on cue, the kid strolled in. Fang introduced the guy as Jian, bragging super hard about his recent jump to tier 5. The captain smugly dragged the guy over to introduce him to his new raid buddies. But the second Jian spotted Lin and Shen, his jaw dropped, totally confused about why campus royalty was crashing his gig. Catching that weird vibe, Fang asked what was up, but Jian just mumbled something about bumping into familiar faces. He admitted they were actually massive celebrities back on campus. Jian couldn't help but fanboy, spilling how Lin was practically the freshman god after soloing the entire elite squad. Fang's mind was blown. He instantly realized he had totally slept on this kid's insane power levels. Later that night, the raid convoy rolled up on the gang's turf. Fang tried handing out tactical vests, but Lin straight up rejected them, claiming he was built different. Trying to match that energy, Jian also waved off the body armor. He flexed that, while he couldn't touch Lin's stats, basic bullets definitely wouldn't pierce his skin. Hitting the sketchy factory, the cops breached the front doors. The thugs totally freaked the moment they saw uniforms, sparking a massive, chaotic firefight. While the squad dove behind anything solid, Lin just zeroed in and sprinted straight into the crossfire, with Jian tailing him. Jian took one hit and instantly scurried back to safety. But our MC just kept casually strolling through the storm. Lead practically bounced off him. Once in striking range, he absolutely wrecked the whole crew in seconds. One cornered thug chucked a frag in pure panic, and the blinding blast gave a few of them the perfect window to bolt. Catching the runners out of the corner of his eye, Lin tossed the alley-oop to his girl. She was totally pumped. It was finally her time to shine. Tapping into her blood manipulation, she instantly froze the fleeing goons right in their tracks like human statues. Once the thugs were zip-tied and done, a cop jogged over holding some extremely shady lockbox they dug up. Fang took one look at the demonic seeds inside and immediately linked these street punks to the crazy underground cult. Quest cleared. Lin gave a peace sign, saying he and his girl had classes to catch, dumping the boring paperwork on the cops. Right as they were dipping out, Lin caught a wild sight. A literal rat burying a dark seed. It clicked the vermin, and floricults were officially teaming up. He practically yelled at his girl to spam her master's phone, knowing this crossover event was way too dangerous to sleep on. Lin made sure to drop the intel on Fang too, figuring the local law enforcement really needed a heads up before things went sideways. 15 days later, our favorite power couple was back at it, taking on another joint op with the city cops. Our guy even dragged Song Yuyan into a crazy brawl against a literal cyborg, Crazy how fast time flies. His whole first semester was basically wrapping up. Over those days, he totally nailed phase 2 of his physical conditioning, and Shen Qinghan officially crushed phase 1. Lin's hyped her up, saying that pulling off phase 1 after just 3 months of grinding meant she was basically miles ahead of everyone else. But honestly, Lin's also spotted she was stuck at rank 6. Basically, her spiritual vibes were totally on point, but her physical muscles just weren't there yet. Feeling super bummed about lagging behind her boyfriend in power, Shen Qinghan got down on herself, so our guy stepped up to sweet-talk her and cheer her up. Later at the hangout spot, he and Song Yuyan were totally stressing over those blocked energy channels of theirs. Wanting to ditch the bad vibes, she suggested a topic change that prompted our boy to check his point stash on her account. Since Song Yuyan had tossed him her login details for those top-tier quests earlier, she told him he'd racked up 2,400 points total. Doing the math, he realized he could score 99 kilos of mongoose cuts, so he begged her to hit buy for him. She was super confused about the crazy meat haul, but still went ahead and checked out his cart anyway. Once back at his place, our guy dragged the packages indoors and literally consumed all the loot. Thanks to that feast, he hit 100% synchronization with a fresh monster core, making him totally bulletproof against basically any poison ever. Just to check his new flex, he literally jabbed his arm with a numbing shot. After feeling absolutely nothing, it hit him that regular meds were totally useless on him now. Not long after, he tagged along with his girl to get her latest genetic upgrade. Right before the whole operation kicked off, Vice Director Yuan Dongji ran a quick scan on that jellyfish trait just to make sure it wouldn't totally glitch out with the incoming DNA. That's when she realized Shen Qinghan had randomly skyrocketed from rank 2 all the way to rank 6 and demanded to know her secret leveling strat. The girl spilled the tea, explaining she'd been grinding her physical training and literally beat phase 1 purely thanks to that bloodbending trick. Dongji was completely shook that her student repurposed her custom move for a totally different skill tree, calling the girl an absolute prodigy who was basically fated to become humanity's ultimate powerhouse. Catching that massive potential, the admin decided to stop playing it safe, choosing to pump her full of 5 wild monster DNA strands, just to see what the girl could actually handle. Then, she pushed the serums in, only to watch 4 of those bad boys get instantly rejected by her system the second they hit her veins. Only the zombie bug's DNA actually stuck around, getting completely dominated by her body, exactly like the jellyfish one did. It suddenly clicked for Yuan Dongji that her mentee was exclusively a match for water-type monsters, so she went ahead and rolled the dice on every single ocean-based sample in her inventory. A minute later, noticing only the bug serum took root, the boss realized her student was currently hard-capped at 2 water-based traits. She guessed that the girl's current lack of raw physical endurance or magical stamina was probably bottlenecking her progress. Still, she was totally confident that once the teenager beefed up her stats, soaking up new abilities would be a breeze. Dongji then dropped the silver lining. The zombie bug had insane health regen and secreted this slick natural jelly that would definitely make the couple's private cuddle sessions way more fun. Wrapping things up, the admin dropped the bomb that the massive rookie face-off was officially delayed until the semester wrapped up. She straight up told her student she expected big things, basically demanding a top 5 finish without begging for a carry this time around. Honestly, our boy was super annoyed by the delay since he was totally hyped to brawl. Later at his crib, Shen Qinghan rolled through with Li Zichen in tow. He immediately called out the massive mountain of shopping bags she was hauling. Li Zichen flexed that her family's boutique just got fresh inventory, so she snagged some cute fits for the squad. She swore they were fresh out the box and practically begged them to play dress-up. Li Zichen totally used the moment to snap some aesthetic pics, turning her besties into literal fashion models. Shen Qinghan totally called out her friend's sneaky photoshoot scheme but honestly didn't care because the free drip was immaculate. The second the flash stopped going off, our guy was already demanding they grab some grub. While chowing down, Shen Qinghan started spilling tea about this ridiculously toxic upperclassman they ran into while heading back to the dorms. The senior literally tried to mug Li Zichen for her shopping bags, and only backed off when she realized who Shen Qinghan was. Li Zichen nodded along, confirming this was the exact same drama queen from her earlier stories, and felt super guilty for dragging her bestie into the mess. She also spilled that this chick thought she was totally untouchable just because her boyfriend pulled strings to get her a student council badge, acting like a complete tyrant ever since. Absolutely triggered by the disrespect, our boy marched straight to the fighting arena with the squad. Once they hit the gym, Li Zichen discreetly pointed out Li Zichen, the toxic senior causing all the drama. Stepping right into her personal space, our guy bluntly asked if she was ever planning to hand back the cosmetics she borrowed from his friend. She fired back, swearing she wasn't stealing, and promised to hand it back once she finished. Plus, she totally bragged about having a flawless track record for returning borrowed stuff. Lin Zichen totally called her bluff, exposing how Leaky would swipe brand new cosmetics and hand back completely empty bottles. Lin Zichen played the victim, swearing it was totally fake and dragging her bestie Faye in as backup. All that toxic gaslighting made Lin Zichen absolutely snap. Our guy flagged down a professor, questioning if the campus handbook seriously let bullies terrorize people and just walk away clean. The prof clarified the campus vibe, saying underdogs literally have a free pass to throw down with top-tier students anytime, but heavy hitters cannot swing down unless the rookie actually accepts the match. To figure out who ranks where, they basically look at the battle stats tied to everyone's current grade level. On top of that, to make the duel absolutely official, both fighters gotta match each other's credit wagers, and a straight-up winner takes absolutely everything set up. Our guy connected the dots, basically warning the upperclassman Lin Zichen that they could legally pull up on her for a duel right now. Freaking out over his scary rep, Lin Zichen instantly backed down. She totally played the gender card, whining that a super strong dude shouldn't be bullying a girl, but our boy just smirked, dropping the bomb that his girlfriend was stepping into the ring instead of him. Without missing a beat, Shen Qinghan stepped up for her bestie, straight up challenging the senior